Welcome to Pensar Basketball Live. The Toronto Raptors lose another one, 130 to 136. Let's start with a few things that I am thankful for tonight. Number one, I am feeling a little bit better. So if you have endured some of the lives over the last 5 days, I apologize. A lot of sniffling, a lot of coughing, a lot of drowsiness. I think I did the last one completely medicated, and that's why it's private now. So I'm thankful that I'm feeling a little bit better. Secondly, I'm thankful that Grady Dick got some minutes. I know he only got 4 minutes. He was -6 in those 4 minutes. He did not get in the second half, but it's just nice to see, you know, in a season that is quickly getting away from the Raptors, to at least have your 13th overall pick get some minutes out there. I guess that's something. I'm also thankful that the Raptors scored 130 points. Not necessarily the easiest thing to do for this team the way it goes at times. But what I'm not thankful for is the Raptors defense. And a lot of people are going to talk about the offense. And the offense, certainly, there's a lot to talk about, right? It has looked disjointed at times. It has looked disconnected, discombobulated, whatever dis word you want to use, just overall this offense. It has looked terrible at times. Guys can't buy shots. The Raptors entered tonight the 30th team in three-point shooting, among the bottom five in free throw shooting. It's been awful, right? But allowing the Knicks to shoot 60% from the field and 59% from three, and even being in the game is quite a miracle, to be honest. I mean, but nevertheless, this is not the first time that the Raptors have allowed this. They allowed Charlotte to shoot crazy numbers as well. The Raptors defense has absolutely taken a nosedive. And it's not just one player. It's a lot of players that are not, buying in. This comment right here, love it. Great. Let's do it. Build around Dennis Schroeder. Wish there was a first overall pick, to tank for this season. Wish Victor Wembanyama, had a little brother he does have a little brother, but unfortunately he's not going to be coming into the draft this year, and I don't think he's really much of an NBA prospect. But nevertheless, the Raptors struggle, and in the most predictable fashion, right? Starters come out, they give up a lead. Bench comes in, get the lead back. Starters come in, they give up the lead. Bench comes in, they get the lead back. And with about 10 minutes to go in the in the fourth quarter, Malachi Flynn hits a three. And as he jogs back, you see Dennis Schroeder and OG Anunoby ready to come back in. Or was it Dennis and Pascal? I can't remember. But it was Dennis. That's what I focused on. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. And it didn't last long, right? It didn't take long and I think the very next play down, Scottie ties it up with a post up on Quentin Grimes. And then it's like, from that point on, it was like a 7-0 run or a 9-0 run for the Knicks real quick. 7-0 run for the Knicks from that point on. And it's just over. So many self-inflicted errors, so many times late getting back into transition. If there was a statistic for the number of times a player is late getting back because they're complaining to the referees about a non-call, the Raptors would probably lead that by and far. Just so many times when you can clearly see a guy either for one of three reasons. Number one, he takes a terrible shot and just falls out of bounds. Number two is just lazily walking back and is just lost in transition. Or three, decides to take an extra 1 to 2 seconds to egregiously protest, a non-call. I mean, here's the question. In the history of the league, has complaining to a referee while trying to get back into transition ever overturned a non-call? It's never happened, ever. The Raptors need to cut this out. Darko Rajakovic needs to look at this and say the next player who does this is getting benched for the rest of the game. It is impossibly stupid to keep doing this over and over again, especially when doing so almost always results in a 3-on-2 fast break going the other way. Oh, it's so frustrating. But you know what? I don't think Darko Rajakovic has a foot to stand on right now, because if he is going to the bench or he is going to the starters, or he's going to his locker room right now and demanding that they play better, I think they very much have a right to ask, well, what are you doing to help us? Right? What the hell are you doing with your lineups and your adjustments? I mean, it, do you know how obvious something has to be for me and the Raptors media to agree on something? I mean, we didn't agree on anything last year, right? It was like nothing that we agreed on last year. I mean, everyone is in agreement on this. You need to make a change in your starting lineup. Now, as much as we have been pounding our chests for Gary Trent Jr. to start over Dennis Schroeder, he's not making it easy. He is not making that argument any easier. He came in and I think he played really poorly. And he was one of those guys who was late getting back. He was one of those guys who was late rotating. Um, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happened. Okay. So was this game close? Yeah, relatively. I don't necessarily feel like this game ever felt out of balance for the Knicks. Like I never felt like their chances of winning this game were ever in jeopardy. So yeah, I think Julius Randle was animated and annoying as hell. I'm not a fan of Julius Randle, but he played a good game tonight. And I think last time he shredded them because they overhelped, but this time he got into the paint. He had a huge poster dunk. Um, the Raptors get 10 more shots than their opponent, right? I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. This is a call-in show, FYI, for anyone. We have AK and Diego Montenegro uh, waiting to call in, so that's gonna be cool. We have two newer callers. But if you would like to call in, link is in the description, and please do make sure to give this video a like. I would very much appreciate it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so in terms of the Raptors, they outshoot their opponent from the line. Great. Um, they don't shoot terribly from three. I mean, they shot 36%, which is exactly league average, 14 for 39. They take more threes than their opponent. Just unfortunately, their opponent, once again, shoots over 50% from three. And I mean, overall, they get a ton of offensive rebounds, 17 offensive rebounds. Huge credit to Jakob Poeltl, Chris Boucher, Scottie Barnes, Precious Achiuwa, guys who crash the glass regularly. Pascal Siakam got in there, you know, 32 assists to 36, pretty decent. They got 12 steals. I mean, it was good, like that's good, but don't get it twisted. Their defense was not good tonight. Okay. Steals do not equal good defense. Okay. And while this game may look like it was close, because no team got ahead by more than 10, it always felt like, even when it was like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, even if it's like 62-62, it feels like, oh man, if the Knicks just tighten it up for a couple minutes, this is a 10-point lead. And that's the feeling you get when you're watching the game. In terms of individual performances, let's take a look. I'll expand this and make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Here we go. So Pascal Siakam, 20 points. Scottie Barnes, 20 points, six rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. OG Anunoby, huge night in terms of just prolific offensive production. Got going from 3 in the second half, really struggled in the first half, but really got going. Had a really acrobatic finish, which suddenly makes sense in terms of why Louis Zatzman was asking him all those questions about his finishes and who he's been modeling himself after. Really haven't seen much of that prior to that. Dennis Schroeder finishes the game with 20 points, 10 assists. I mean, he shoots 50% from 3, 50% from the field. Do you really have any complaints about Dennis Schroeder? He had 4 steals. Yeah, sure. I have tons of complaints. Tons of complaints about how he manages the game, how he manages pace, how he, his defense. Like, I have a lot of issues with Dennis Schroeder right now. Okay. Jakob Poeltl with 11 points, 8 rebounds, 0 blocks. Okay. In terms of the bench, Chris Boucher with who left the game in the second half, but eight shot attempts in 10 minutes. Oh, he was not shy. I think he wasted about 6 seconds when he got in to take his first shot. Precious Achiuwa, kind of a mixed bag, man. I mean, he crashed the glass. But yeah, overall, I wasn't crazy about it. I think Malachi Flynn had a pretty good game, but even he had some critical errors in terms of. So there was a sequence which I remember it was in the late third or early fourth, where I think it was the early fourth, where let me try to remember it exactly. Effectively, Scottie gets a steal, passes it to Malachi. Malachi and two Raptors, but one of whom was Precious Achua, have like a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-1 fast break. They screw it up. It goes the other way. The Knicks get a three. That sucks. That breaks your back. Then suddenly the Raptors get out in transition. Malachi gets a wide open layup. It goes in and out. He's frustrated, thinks maybe he got a foul or something, and comes down. And I think he has a flagrant foul. I personally believe that was a flagrant foul. I saw the frustration on his face. There was no real play on the ball from that angle, and they review it and they say no flagrant, which is good for Malachi. I'm glad he didn't have to pay up and get a flagrant foul, but yeah. John Lem saying the lineup with Gary, Grady, Scottie, Flynn, and Precious, the flow looked really good in the second quarter. That looked promising. Um, Offensively, okay, so that lineup, I had only issues with Gary's shot selection in that lineup. It was a couple times where I think he could have made a pass to an open shooter and he just kind of took it. It's like disrupts the rhythm of the offense. And of course, Grady, I don't have any real issues with what he did offensively. I mean, I'm glad that he got his only shot to go in because of basket interference. Um, More so, I think just defensively, he has to be a little bit more engaged. He gets caught on a screen, and I think it was Quentin Grimes, or I can't remember. I think it was Quentin Grimes who got a wide open three off of it. So just getting around screens, being more physical, I think, yeah. Thierry saying it was Chris and Precious. Correct. Yes. Chris Boucher and Precious Achua and Malachi Flynn on a 3-on-1 or a 3-on-2 fast break, and they give it up. And again, like there's so many weird calls. Like the referees have such control in terms of like flow and pace. Pace is so important. Momentum is so important. That's why coaches call timeouts. And I think both coaches, apart from Darko's lineups and going to the starters in the end again, I think they managed the game about evenly, right? And I don't think either team played necessarily very well defensively. I just think the Knicks are a better team, and even without Mitchell Robinson, they were able to make it work. So from the Raptors' perspective, I think you get screwed on the Scottie Barnes three, right? It's clearly a three. Replay shows it's a three. There's dozens of pictures circulating on the internet. I don't think there's ever been such a clear three that has been called a two after review. It's baffling. I don't know what. Like it's shocking, really, that a professional league can go back, a replay center can go back. You can have professionals, referees, and they just get this wrong. I mean, if this game had been a 1-point loss, you'd have to protest this entire game. That's one. But I think the Raptors got away with a couple too. I mean, and on the road, you'd say it's even, right? And I don't know if they knew that, and that's why they didn't. But that Pascal Siakam trip, I've seen that before. I saw him trip a lot. I've seen him trip Damian Lillard. I've seen him trip, Joel Embiid with that same little kick out. He does it. That's just his response. If he gets fouled and he feels like he didn't get a call, he's going right for the trip. Like it's every time it's the same fucking thing. He thought he got fouled by Joel Embiid. He didn't get the call. He falls down. He tries to trip Joel Embiid. He thought somebody fouled him. He thought Damian Lillard grabbed his hand. He falls down. He grabs Dame's ankle and trips him. I don't like dirty play. Okay? This is just a personal thing. I don't like it. I've never liked it. Physical play is a different thing. Hard fouls are a different thing. But tripping and grabbing people's ankles, grabbing people's dicks, I don't like this stuff. This stuff is like it's bush league shit. Get it off my team. I don't like it. People always have an issue with me calling out Pascal for this shit, but I would call out any player in the league for this shit. And if Scottie ever did this shit, I would call him out too. I would lose a lot of respect for Scottie Barnes if he started becoming like a cheap player. It's not cool, and it's just not right. So I think the Raptors get away with one. I think Josh Hart had a very good reason to be very upset with Pascal Siakam. In terms of just sort of, okay, like let's just take a look at the Knicks here for a sec. Julius Randle, 14 for 21, 34 points. Man, talk about a season that did not start out like this, but it's certainly coming around. 8 rebounds, 5 assists, total complete game. RJ Barrett, he puts up 27 on 21 shots. Jalen Brunson, say it's a quiet night. 21 points, 9 assists. Could have been certainly in the midst of a 136-point explosion. Certainly, you'd expect that Jalen Brunson would make up for more than 21 points, but good for him. Dante DiVincenzo, a new sort of addition to the starting lineup. I think it's been interesting, right? Like finding him shots in a ball dominant, starting lineup with guys like that is tough. And yeah, and I think Hartenstein gave him good minutes. He's very active, very disruptive. Josh Hart and Quentin Grimes were awesome off the bench. I think they were great. And again, it's like they didn't have Emmanuel Quickly, right? And he is definitely one of their top 6 players. I think that would be crazy to dispute that he's one of their 6 best players. And they didn't have Mitchell Robinson, and he's easily one of their top 6, 7 players as well. So I think you're facing a team that's undermanned, and you got beat. And you were easily the more desperate team. You needed this win. You are now 9-14. You are 5 games under 500. You are winless against your own division, which is the worst way to go. Look, man, there's 2 types of losses. There are losses that hurt you once. There are losses that hurt you twice. And these losses hurt you twice because you're adding a win for a team that you inevitably, absolutely need to catch. And you're not going to catch them now. It's starting to get away, right? This is almost an inverted record. The Raptors are 9-14. The Knicks are now 13-9. It's getting harder. And, you pile up 1 or 2 more losses, like the season's over. I mean, look, it's different when it's the Lakers. It's different when it's a weaker conference. But when you start talking about going 6, 7 games under 500, you're not a great shooting team. You don't have necessarily, I don't want to say the Raptors have the hardest schedule going forward, but they certainly don't have the easiest. It's tough. And there aren't a lot of teams that you can just feast on. There are about 3 to 4 teams in the league. Soon there will be 6 or 7 that will be, let's say, 75% to 90% surefire wins on a nightly basis. But let me just remind you, going into tonight, the San Antonio Spurs, the Washington Wizards, and the Detroit Pistons were 1-48 over the last combined 49 games. Those 3 teams are so bad. So bad, it is ridiculous. So bad, it is historic. So bad, it is like all 3 of them are trying to compete with the Charlotte Bobcats. But you have been down 20 plus points to 2 of those teams. You required a huge comeback against San Antonio to get that game. Y'all remember that? Scottie Barnes, big coming out party after which his usage dropped. Yep. You required a huge, I think it was like a 38-point explosion from Pascal Siakam. Well, I don't remember what it was, but it was like a huge explosion from Pascal. Like against the Wizards, they were beating you. You had to come back. This is a team with bad habits. This is a team that is not connected. This is a team that does not believe in themselves or in their process. How often, that first timeout that Darko Rajakovic called in the 3rd quarter, it felt like this team came out and they really punched. And suddenly the cuts felt accurate. The pace felt good. The shots felt better. Everything felt better about 4 minutes or 2 minutes. And then they went on that run Tibbs calls the timeout. Jalen Brunson hits a shot, and then boom, it's back to the same. Why does this team need so many reminders on how to play basketball? It's not complicated. It's not that complicated. What Darko Rajakovic is asking for is not that complicated. It's energy. It's energy. It's execution. This is a really poor executed team, like a team that is just constantly executing poorly. They don't execute their screens properly. They don't execute their roles properly, their coverages properly. They don't execute passes properly. How many times are passes off target? Everything is just off with this team. And it's frustrating because it just feels like it's slipping away, man. It's slipping away. And with the season slipping away, it feels like any leverage you might have had is starting to slip away as well. So it's tough. All right. Let's get some callers on. First, I just want to just take a look at some of these super chats here. Already talked about that. Rank Scrub, thank you very much. OG might be traded just based on potential returns. Yikes. That would kind of suck. I mean, I get what you're saying. Paradise Lost saying Pascal should have been traded after the bubble. Yeah, maybe. Okay. AK, what's up, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hear yourself?
Yep.
Trying to process the way we played everything of the Raptors, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like in general, for me, I just want to talk about OG right now.
Mhm.
Like I felt like he played a really good game. I liked how he started off, like he was starting guarding Jalen Brunson in the first quarter. He did a really good. I think he did a good job trying to get him off ball. But the problem was it allowed Julius Randle. He put everyone on the post and he got going. And I think he just got really good at the end. It was just hard to stop him. He got hot.
I mean, there's a couple times where Scottie just sort of forced Randall baseline, and there just wasn't anything behind him. You know,
Right.
It's tough. But
you're referring to the one of the technical he got, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, hold on. No, not that one. There was one where he was on the opposite side and he forced him baseline, and somehow they forced the miss. And then somehow the ball bounces around, comes back to Randall, and he reinitiates on the other side and just spins. I believe he spun around Pascal and Jakob and just dunked it, or he didn't dunk it. He just put it up, and you see the replay, and Siakam's just standing there, like there's no hand up.
Yes.
You remember that, right? So
and that's when Darko called a timeout right after that.
Yes, he did, but that was like the third or fourth terrible defensive thing, not just from Siakam, but from the entire team. Entire team is leaking oil everywhere.
Yes, I agree. So the only thing I want to talk about for OG is like in the third quarter, by far it was great. He had 15 points. He hit two corner three from opposite sides, and then he did a pick and pop with Pascal for like top of key three, which I don't understand. They never do it. They finally did it, and they don't even go back to it in the fourth quarter. Because the fourth quarter, OG didn't even attempt a three at all until the dying seconds of the fourth quarter when it was already too late.
I mean, are we going to talk about like how? I mean, I'm not suggesting that the Raptors could have won this game down the stretch, but just how poorly they managed the last minute of the game as well. I mean, having the foul to give, not giving the foul, allowing for two basically breakaway dunks. Like, what are they doing? How are you not fouling in that situation? How are coaches not asking this team to foul? It is baffling what I'm watching right now. If you told me they were losing these games on purpose, I would absolutely believe you.
I'll give you that. Yep. That is for sure true. Like the only good thing I've noticed that I'm starting to like is off the bench now is when Scottie and Precious are together on the offensive end. Precious is more on the sides now doing catch and shoot threes, while Scottie is more doing controlling, playing the center, basically like point center, I would say. He's doing the pick and roll with Flynn. Flynn spreads away, and Scottie can go to work. I love that because like Precious just can't make decisions, quick decisions at all right now.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like they could so easily, with maybe like two personnel swaps, like in terms of roster fit, right? Because
Hmm.
what they're asking these players to do is not overly complicated, right? Like they
Hmm.
have a lot of young players. Fine, I accept it. Grady, Malachi, whatever, Precious. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they'll develop these skills, develop the IQ by the end of the season. I get it. But with some of these other players, it feels like it's really pulling teeth just to get them to make the right pass, and it shouldn't be.
Hmm.
And it's also sometimes pulling teeth to just get them to initiate through the right player. And as good as Malachi played tonight, and I have certainly very few complaints, there were a
He
couple
was the best
times
guard.
he was the best guard, unless you count Scottie as a guard or OG as a guard.
Well,
But
technically, Scottie. Oh, sorry, continue.
they're
Continue.
wings. But I
Mhm.
think you mean like he was the best among him and Dennis. Is that basically what
Yes,
you mean?
yes, yes.
Him, Dennis, and Gary, like the smaller guards.
Yep, basically.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No contest there. Like he was better than those guys. But there was a couple of times, in the second quarter where I feel like he had advantages or he could have made a pass that would have absolutely led to an open dunk, and he just delayed it. And he
Flynn
didn't
talking
make it.
about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There were a couple of those. One was to Scotty, I think one was to Precious, and he just missed it. Like, or he delayed it, or he second
Right.
guessed himself and he didn't want to throw it.
Mhm.
And I think that those mistakes just can't happen because first of all, it's so rare to generate such easy opportunities, right? This offense often has gone 4 or 5 minutes without a basket, this season, last season, and the year before. So when you have transition opportunities like the end, in the fourth quarter where Scotty, threw it to the other team, for instance,
Oh, yes.
right? Or the three on one, I believe, break with Malachi, or the Malachi, open layup, or take, for instance, any of Dennis's open layups this year. Layups should be, a fairly efficient offensive opportunity for, and fast breaks should be very efficient. The Raptors are not efficient at things that should be very efficient. Open threes should be efficient. The Raptors are not efficient at open threes. So this is kind of the crux of the problem, which is you have it's not even so easy as to say, okay, we'll trade Siakam and then it all gets better. It's like it doesn't just
Yes,
immediately get better
I
with one
agree.
one player.
Which I don't want them to trade Pascal. You trade him, the roster becomes so bad. Becomes hell for Scotty, basically. Because all the defense will just double him all the time. And you got nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like it depends on what you get back. I'm just saying like it's not as simple as, oh, you just got to trade Siakam because just simply it's simply taking something away doesn't immediately make the problem go away
Right.
is kind of what I'm saying. It's not as simple as like, okay, well, like for instance, like let's take Precious out and put Otto in, and it's like, okay, I mean that solves one problem, which is you have
Mhm.
one person who makes better decisions less on the basketball court,
Right.
but then you still have other problems, which is like one player cannot guard five players. Like at the end of the day, your defense is still breaking down at the point of attack constantly. I don't know. There's so many issues. There's issues galore. I wonder if it's something as simple as because it certainly wasn't like this earlier in the season. Early in the season, I felt that the hallmarks of a top five defense were there, right? And lately, I felt like this team would be very, very lucky to finish as a top 12 defensive team.
As of right now, yes, I agree. Like I pray
Yeah.
for Miracle Coloco recovers, but I don't think he's coming at all this season.
Yeah.
He'll make a
I
huge
I I mean, why don't they just apply for a disabled player exception if he's not coming back?
That's true. I'll give you that.
But sign who is available right now? That's worth
There
asking.
is no one. This is the hardest problem that like people don't understand is we won the championship 2019. We threw away all of our assets, right? We gave all of our
Yeah,
bench players, and now it's like we have to regain our bench. We don't have a bench really,
we've had 5 years, man. It's been 5 years.
but we lost all our picks.
I mean,
The
no.
only pick we had was Scottie, right? Within 5 years. Well, technically, Koloko was second round.
I
Who
mean,
was our first pick?
Malachi,
Oh yeah,
Grady, Scotty, Koloko,
Grady was this.
right?
Yeah.
Grady was this year, but I mean, like at some point, you're gonna have to win somewhere else, right? And I mean, like undrafted heap, late second round picks. It's not like where the Raptors have been picking. It's not like there's not been any value, right? In the
Mhm, mhm.
2022 draft, like there were plenty of like Andrew Nembhard, the guy that
Oh,
everybody wants in a Pacers deal. He was right there, right? Like he was
mhm,
right there. I mean, granted, like he got picked up like 2 picks before we picked Koloko, but still, like he that was in our range, you know.
mhm.
So, anyways, like I think the Raptors need to make some trades. I think, but my first solution clearly is change the starting lineup and see what happens. And I
Yes.
think it would give like a lot of faith to the team just
Mhm.
to know, hey, we're trying something,
I don't think
like
he'll
it's
do it next game though.
he should
He
he
won't
should he should
because
have done it
we're
5 games
facing
ago.
100%. We're facing Hawks twice. So I doubt he'll do it the first game. And if we lose badly, I pray we do, then he'll finally change. Hopefully he'll finally change the next game.
It's tough, man, because you're looking at teams like the Hornets and you're like, that's the game you're supposed to win.
Oh, without a doubt.
So you're not winning the games you're supposed to win, and now you're almost certainly going to not win the games that you're not supposed to win. And other teams are not stupid.
The
They're
only
they're.
concerning is sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, it's like my only concern for the Hawks, I think Darko is going to feel like who's going to guard Trey the whole game. The only person I could think of is this OG for the wings department for wings. If Darko bench Dennis,
Hmm.
only OG can guard Trey. That's it I can think of. Who's quick footed enough because I don't want Scotty near guarding Trey.
Hmm. Well, they're missing Jalen Johnson.
Oh, that's good
That
news.
helps. He's injured for a bit, but we'll see. I mean, like they gotta face the Hawks 4 more times this season. That's a team
Oh,
that's ahead of them. They got December 13th, 15th, January 28th, and February 23rd. I mean, shit. Like that's all in the next
mhm.
month and a half to 2 months. It's 2.5 months, right? In the next 2.5 months, they got to face this team 4 times. And I'll tell you right now, you go 0-4 against the Hawks over those 4 games, your season's over. It's like you have to build a cushion, you know. And when you start losing games like against the Hornets, like a depleted Hornets team, and you start
Mhm.
giving away these, let's say gimmies, like they are gimme games, like you start giving away those games, it really does become tough. Anyways, any final thoughts, AK?
No, just let's see. I'm hoping Darko does make the final change. Oh, I'm looking. Did the guy announce his comments after the game or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, I'm looking for what he's going to say for him benching for not benching Dennis.
Well, I doubt he's going to be asked specifically why he didn't bench Dennis, but I'm curious if people will approach the, hey, given how poorly your starters have fared the last 185 times you've put them in the game, could you possibly consider not putting them in to close the game when your bench is doing well? I mean, I don't know. Like, there's such a diplomatic way to answer it and ask that question, and he just keeps dodging it, and it's kind of making it's very frustrating for me. Like, honestly, I like him, but like I like him a lot. Actually, he's a good coach, but
Mhm.
this stubbornness to just keep playing the starting lineup when it's not working, and to have it basically end your season, it's unforgivable. Yeah. Anyways, AK, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Take
See you,
care.
man. Diego Montenegro, what's up? Wow, he sat there for like he sat there for 10 minutes, 20 minutes trying to do that. Nice. Jonathan, what's up?
Hey, got some good news.
What's the
I
good news?
just I just found out my wife's getting me a universal remote for Christmas. It changes everything.
Does it? What is what's a universal remote?
Oh, for the television. I was just making a stupid joke.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought I thought you were going to tell me that a universal remote is like one of those magical remotes
Oh,
that
like
suddenly makes Alvin Williams make sense when he's
the
talking.
Adam Sandler movie, the one where he can like,
Click.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Um, I,
Does your universal remote allow us to change the lineups? Does it?
uh,
Like? Could somebody out there, some super scientifically advanced person, just allow us to, like, I don't know, have this remote that can stop time when Dennis Schroeder gets off the bench, and then just, like, I don't know, pause him there, like freeze him and just keep him on the bench. Like, at this point, I would be curious to run an experiment to see if the Raptors fared better 4-on-5,
yeah.
and maybe if that would prove to Darko Rajakovic to keep this guy on the bench. It's crazy.
There's
Anyways,
like one, like overall, I'm still happy. No universal can help this Raptors team. That's good. There was one thing that just kept running through my mind, and I'm gonna be quick tonight because I'm feeling kind of tired. But
mhm.
lack of process, and it's just, I would give a significant amount of money to be a fly on the wall, and I want to hear like the rationale, the justification, the like when I read or heard, I could be misquoting, but Darko was asked about Scottie at the point, and he said that's not happening this season.
When did he say that?
I'll have to dig it up. I'll find the
Is it
tweet.
recent?
Yeah, within the last day or two, and it kind of it made me throw up a little bit in my mouth when I when I read it. So I hope I misread. And I'll comb through my my history, and I'll try and find that for you. But yeah, tonight was just
Not
I think
happening this
it
season.
was
Okay. So I'm assuming that was probably like a media scrum.
yeah, like it was a question from somebody in the media, and they said, what about moving Scottie to the point? And he's like, it's not happening either at this time or this season. I can't remember what exactly he said, because I didn't actually see I only saw the words, not the actual interview.
Does someone
So he doesn't
know, like,
trust to
where
bring up the ball consistently.
it was after the Wednesday game?
Okay, so I'm not losing my mind. Good.
Really? I mean, I listened to that post game. I don't remember hearing it was something about bringing the ball. Huh. That's interesting. So it was after the Charlotte game?
I believe so, yeah.
Hmm.
Like that resonates with where I think I read it. And it was somebody quoting, and I read it on X or Twitter or whatever. And I was just like, oh my God.
It was not post game, post practice the next day. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Don't really understand the rationale. I'm gonna sound like a broken record. Dennis has to come off the bench. I really don't enjoy watching him play.
I would just as soon as start, honestly. I would just be perfectly fine starting Malachi Flynn right now. Not considering where I started this season on Malachi Flynn, that's probably saying a lot. So, like, I just don't understand.
You'll also get motor though, like, because I've never seen a guy that can move so quickly that takes as many opportunities to not do so as Dennis. I don't know how that's possible, because he is, like, when you watch him in moments, he's quite quick. But you hit the nail on the head earlier with the whole layup should be textbook, and I don't know how I don't know what he's looking at, or if maybe he needs like LASIK surgery or whatever the deal is, or he's getting hit too hard. But I have never in my life wished injury upon a player, on any team of any sport, regardless. But I've been kind of saying to myself, I wouldn't be upset if he went down with something that sidelined him, so we could just get another look at something that's not Dennis. And
What if what if he just gets like pulled over for a speeding ticket and then I don't know, gets like okay, this is not going in the right direction.
I know where
I just want him to miss a game. I don't care how he misses a game. He can miss a game for a personal reason. He can miss a reason because of a personal holiday.
Mhm.
He could miss a reason because there's a cartoon on and he really wants to watch it with his kids. I don't want anyone to get injured. I don't want him to be sick. I don't want him to
like I'm
you know
saying,
anything. I just want him to go away for a day. You know, I just want him to go away for a day. And it's just like the problem is this fucking coach will not allow us to see what this team looks like without him. But the like what 15 minutes that we've seen, you know, with like I mean, I was looking at it, it was like baffling the lineup data, like the number of times like this coach has allowed a lineup onto the court without Dennis that like do you know what I mean? Like OG Scottie Pascal plus two players that are not Jakob and Dennis.
Morris wants to come in
would
on
be
the
very
Dennis talk.
interesting.
Morris wants to join us on the Dennis talk.
Okay. Coach Mo, what up?
Oh, it's Coach Mo.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
I have an
This
alias, but
is the first time I've been
Rob,
on
what
with
you're
you.
talking about is Blake Murphy was talking about on the Raptor show. Siakam, OG, Scottie, clearly our three best players and our most valuable players, have played a total of 11 minutes without either Jakob or Dennis next to them.
That would
For
be
context, we're getting, if you say 32 minutes a game and 23 games, that's close to 750 minutes. So in 750 minutes, roughly, they've only played 11 minutes without those two guys that don't fit next to them. So what that lets me know is we don't know if those three can play together. We don't know if Scottie or Pascal will actually work.
No, we do know because we have data from last season that tells us they can. And they did fine with Dennis and Fred. They did fine with Precious and Fred. They did fine in a ton of different scenarios, man. There's a lot of lineups to prove that these three players can work together. The problem is you have two players who don't shoot particularly well. And it was so weird, like that three that Dennis got fouled on by Jalen Brunson. That was such a shitty three. It was such a terrible three to take.
He just dropped to the floor. If they challenged that, that should have been a flopping technical. He just dropped to the floor. Like he got hit by a brick. But
bro, like, I mean, when you're shooting so poorly from three over the last 17 games and probably the last 17 years of your life, that's not a fucking three that your team needs in that moment. And you know, you're banking on the refs to bail you out, but like, jeez, like that's just such low IQ. I think there was like 20 seconds left on the clock or 18 seconds left on the clock. It was super early offense. There was 6 minutes to go in the game. There's no need for that shot at that time. You're not him. Scottie took a couple of early ones too, but like, I mean, shit, like he's at least hitting them. Like, I don't know.
I was shocked that Dennis came in with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I was like, wow. I thought to myself, wait, he's going to play the entire 9 minutes or is he going to get subbed out or something?
He's never going to get subbed out.
He played from 9 minutes. That was a break in pattern. Like, it's like Darko's strategy. I really need a win. We're on a losing streak. I'm going to play Dennis even more.
Fucking crazy.
Like we're going in the opposite direction. Again,
I'm getting really irritated at the
every single clutch time minute this year.
Yep. I have read that stat as well. Oh my God, Maroon Prince. Dennis didn't play that bad of a game today. We were poor defensively all around. Bro, come on, man. I need you to look at the fucking pace of this game. You cannot argue that every single fucking time this guy comes onto the basketball court, like the pace goes to shit. The defense goes to shit. There's so many things that go to shit with him. Like you can argue that he makes a really good pass every 7 or 8 possessions. There's a really good pass or there's some good play, but like, man, like in terms of just the construct of team offense and spacing and how much actual like opportunity other players have to operate. Like he is killing so many good things, man.
Why does he have to initiate every offensive set in crunch time? Jalen Brunson doesn't, but Dennis has
Exactly.
to. I don't understand that.
He's so ball dominant.
He had, and I'm watching it, and I read the part where Darko was talking about how he doesn't trust Scottie. He needs another ball handler on the court at all times that he trusts, i.e., Dennis or Malachi. So Dennis's purpose basically
So you heard this quote.
Yeah, I seen it, and what he wants Dennis to do, basically, from my understanding, is Dennis brings the ball up the court because he trusts that. He thinks that if you have Scottie as your main point guard, they're just going to pressure him, and then he won't be able to handle that pressure, and then everything's going to go to shit. So he needs Dennis to do his slow wobble up the court, right? That's his entire purpose, and then he's useless. So Dennis brings the ball up the court safely, and then he provides nothing after that.
And many people can do that.
I know they could. Gary can do it.
Hold on.
Siakam could do it. OG can do it.
I don't trust Gary, but Pascal can. Pascal is more than capable of bringing the ball up the court. Scottie is more than capable. And if you're worried about pressure, honestly, if they're pressuring you in the backcourt with a passer like Scottie, they're going to die. Because after a couple of possessions, he's going to start figuring it out and you can punish them.
Well,
like if that's his reasoning, like that's a bad reason. I get it too. You know, his dribble is too high. 100%. You know, his dribble is too high and a little too loose right now. And yes, if you put a really small defender on him, like he's going to struggle for sure. Like he does not have the ball handling skills of a Dennis Schroeder right now, or even a Pascal Siakam. So his handle needs to get a lot better if he wants.
14. We're 9-14.
No, I get that.
So it's not like this is working.
No, that's fair too. That's fair. That's fair as hell. So, I mean, at this point, like I would rather take my lumps. And if in fact he's right and he thinks that, you know, some teams are just going to fucking full court press Scottie, dude, like this is a guy who's played point guard in Division I. He wasn't turnover prone. He wasn't turnover prone at Florida State. He wasn't turnover prone at Montreal. You know, he has never been turnover prone as a point guard ever.
Nope.
I wish our media had freaking a sack where they could just be like, "Oh, I don't trust Scottie Barnes." Thing. We've had Scottie Barnes starting at point
in the playoffs,
and we won 2 playoff games. We've won 2 playoff against a team way better than the teams we're losing to right now. Yep. And we played Boucher and Achua heavy minutes with no Fred VanVleet. And again, couldn't hit the side of a barn.
I don't think we played Malachi that entire series.
No,
Malachi never touched the court against the Sixers in the playoffs.
We need Dennis to dribble up the court and initiate. And so our 3 best players in crunch time are waiting for the decisions Dennis makes. Bro, if I have to watch another Dennis Yaka pick and roll, I'm gonna break my TV.
Yeah, Explorer Core saying, has this become a Dennis hate channel?
No.
This is a fair criticism channel. Like you see what you want to see, obviously. But I will remind you that what we see is limited to what we know.
Can I interject on that one? If you're like Explorer Core, whoever made the comment, if you're a long time watcher of this channel, you would know that it's not about hate. Rob has been a long time proponent of a certain Malachi Flynn not being a part of this team and how terrible his play was. And when his play turned around, when his drive, when his game came around, when he was actually like following the system, what happened? No more hate.
Yeah, it wasn't
even hate. It was just criticism of poor play, poor process, no execution. He's way too timid when he up until this season. Like Malachi was the most timid player on the Raptors.
Yeah, so Sean's saying last year was Fred, this year Dennis, next year could be another one. When do we blame coaching and management?
I mean, those are
why is it so like one or the other? We have been critical of coaching. Mm-hmm. Like it's not Dennis's fault. It's Darko's fault. He's playing Dennis. So we are technically blaming the coach for playing the player that you think we're hating. You see what I mean? Yeah.
It's Rob,
Oy.
it's so strange. It's so strange. Our better players have to fit around Dennis. Like they have to adjust to him when it should be the other way around.
I am just.
If you don't make our best players better, you got to sit on the bench.
Mm,
This is upside down world. Like for example, you trade Pascal Siakam. Does the problem of Jakob Poeltl and Dennis Schroeder starting, is that solved?
I mean, it depends. Who's replacing Pascal Siakam? If Steph Curry is replacing Pascal Siakam, then yes, it's solved. If Precious Achiuwa is replacing Pascal Siakam, then no, it's not solved. You need an abundance of spacing to compensate for Jakob and Dennis being on the basketball court, right? Like, there's no team in the league that I can think of that can get away with two players like Dennis and Jakob in the same lineup without killing their spacing, right? And if the third player compounding those spacing issues is Siakam shooting 20% from three, then you're toast. I've always mentioned it. It's a critical mass theory, right? It's like, we can agree that Domantas Sabonis is not a good defender, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can agree Trae Young's not a good defender. We can agree Luka's not a good defender. There's a lot of non-good defenders in the league, right? So you have to build lineups around those guys and keep four players on the court with those guys who can keep the defense as a team unit afloat, which means that if Luka is a really poor point of attack defender, well, okay, you trade for DeJounte Murray and you hide Trae on, I said Trae, right? Initially. So
Yeah.
if Trae Young is a really bad point of attack defender, which he is certainly, and he's a really bad post defender, which certainly he is, well, that means that you need a lot of backline help, which ideally you have with Onyeka Okongwu and, in theory, a little bit with Clint Capella. You need some point of attack defense that you have with DeJounte Murray, and you need to be able to hide Trae Young on the worst perimeter player that's ideally not very quick. So you're going to almost always hide him on the PJ Tucker, and on our team you would probably put him on who would you put him on? You would probably put him on Dennis Schroeder, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's the other problem. It's like you let the other team off the hook, right? You let the other team off the hook because they are allowed to hide their worst defender on somebody. Whereas if you don't have Dennis Schroeder, then Trae Young has to guard somebody else.
Even tonight,
yeah,
there's nothing Dennis can do to defend Brunson. He's just too big.
Absolutely.
Like, the physics just kicks in, and there's nothing he can do. So
can you imagine what we're saying? Like, Jalen Brunson is too big.
Way too big. Way too big.
He's one of the smallest point guards in the NBA. He's too big. This is crazy. Like, I mean, I don't want to say he's one of the smallest point guards in the NBA. I think he's 6'2", but like, still, like, I mean, he is an average size point guard in terms of height, weight, and he's probably below average in terms of wingspan. Like, we are heading towards a league in which point guards are routinely going to be 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", right? Like, you need to get Scottie pushed into this position, like, soon. I
found it comical when Flynn, Boucher, and Achiuwa were running that fast break. I was like, oh, here we go. We know this ain't going to work out. Do you remember that? And there was
Mickelto saying Brunson is stocky, that's why Dennis cannot guard him. No, Brunson is good, and Dennis is not. That's why he cannot guard him.
He's one of the more physical guards. Like, he plays very physical.
He's physical. He knows how to use his weight, but he's also extremely crafty. Like, there was a shot that he hit, and I believe like he just allowed Dennis to just kind of float past him, and he's just like fucking wide open.
They look like practice shots in mid-range.
Yeah, like, I mean,
he's
like, that's what great players do. They get to their fucking spots. No, that's fair. He is stocky, but that's not the reason he can't guard him. Like, I mean
PJ Tucker stocky. He doesn't know how to use his body. He doesn't know how to leverage anything.
Do you think that Dennis Schroeder is going to have very much luck against Trae Young?
I mean, no. He's too crafty. He won't even let you guard him.
He's crafty. He can shoot from like 35 feet. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I don't necessarily think Flynn is better than Dennis. I actually don't. I think Dennis is a better player. The difference, though, is Flynn, for better or worse, can't really do anything by himself. He needs to better players. He needs action with Scottie, right? He's almost forced to do it. We've seen him try to do something. He misses a layup. He tried to run the fast break turnover. Like, he's basically useless when he tries to create on his own, which is unfortunate. But the positive to that is he has to incorporate Scottie.
I don't think his mindset is wrong when it comes to basketball, right? He's like extremely well coached, right? So Malachi is like one of those guys where, you know, all of his errors are those of lacking skill or lacking talent or lacking physicality, but never lacking the right idea.
Yes.
Like you see, he sees it, but he doesn't actually have the skill to make the pass, the height to make the pass, the strength to make the pass. You see, he knows where the shooter should be or whatever. Like, I mean, there's a couple of times, I mean, like, and also like, I mean, you know, let's have some empathy for Malachi Flynn. He's also playing with a lot of dummies, you know, who are often like not in the places that they're supposed to be, not rolling to the places they're supposed to be, you know? So I have a lot of empathy for Malachi Flynn as well.
He can't run a break to save his life. Did you see those 2 times he was pushing it and he had bounce passes. He had pockets to, you were mentioning it earlier. He can't, like, Malachi Flynn he just can't do it. He's just not good enough. For whatever reason, he's just not it. And I prefer that, where a guy has to like be glued to your best players and play off them, than have Dennis, you know, think he's something he's not.
Mr. Shadow saying Flynn is like Austin Rivers.
Austin Rivers up 25.
No, Austin Rivers. Doc Rivers' son. He's
Rivers
really not. Rivers is way better, and I'm not an Austin Rivers fan, but Austin Rivers was an NBA player, like a real NBA guard who could really score. And also at one point, I think some people thought he was going to be like a top 5 pick. So yeah, definitely not that level of talent. Never has been that level of talent, and talent fucking matters.
It does.
It matters so much, man. Like, I'm looking at guys like even like Cam Reddish, and I'm just like, shit, that's talent. You know, that's like actual talent.
He wouldn't work here, though.
No, he wouldn't. Nothing works here. This is like the place where NBA careers come to die. But like, I mean,
you seen Precious? Did you see Precious when Scottie was trying to post up Grimes for the second time in the 4th quarter, and he just walks up to him to try to set a screen and just creates a triple team? It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen that entire game. I was like, this dude, like, wow.
Yeah,
he's setting a screen on someone posting up. Like, he lost his mind. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
This might be the dumbest basketball team I think I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, this is including like a really, really hapless JV team that I watched once, like, play basketball. It was a female junior varsity team that was just like helpless. I remember my like, there are times, okay, like sometimes you watch, it doesn't happen too often in the NBA where you watch a team that just feels like they're in the wrong league, but it happens all the time in high school, right? Like in high school basketball. So I remember one time my ex-girlfriend, she was the starting point guard of a team that was very bad, right? I'm not going to name the team, but they were fucking trash. And I watched them play, and I knew they were trash because she was the starting point guard. Bro, she was bad, okay? And I was just like, bro, you start. I was shocked. I was like, you're the starting what? And she's like, I was like, you're the starting point guard. I was like, oh boy, right? Because she could barely fucking dribble the ball up the court. Like, and I mean, we practiced one-on-one prior to the game, and I think I blocked her like 14 times to try to, like, you know, motivate her. I don't know. That did not work. Anyways, I watched her team play this other team, and they got smashed. They got smashed like 78-12. And I to this day, the biggest question I have is, how the fuck did that team score 12 points? You know, like, I have no idea. It was like they threw up fucking Hail Marys at the rim. Nothing was sure. Nothing was sure with that team. There was another girl on that team, the team that they played. I will never forget her stat line. Now, I don't remember her name. She was about 6'1". She was playing center for them, but probably she could have gone on to become like a Division II or Division III power, like a Division III shooting guard. She had 13 blocks, 14 assists, 26 rebounds, and 32 points. She had a quadruple double.
Mm.
And it's like when I watch those teams play, I'm like, one of these teams should be demoted to a different division where they don't have to go through this. That's how sometimes I watch the Raptors play against other teams. I feel like this team should not be, and it's not because they don't have the talent or because they don't have the skill or whatever. Because Pascal, Scottie, OG is plenty of talent to compete on a nightly basis. It's some of these other guys.
It's everything around them. It's everything around them.
Almost everything else around them is like, what the fuck am I watching? This is like, it's not even G League shit, man. Like I watched the 905 play against some teams the other day, and I was just like, I'm gonna like go watch a 905 game and tell me who sets a pick on a player posting up.
Yep.
I just want to know. You know, Precious Achiuwa has literally invented a new play style that nobody wanted.
Tell me how many guards can run a fast break better than Malachi Flynn?
A lot.
How many people can make better decisions in the open court than Precious Achiuwa and Chris Boucher?
I mean, Chris Boucher, if he doesn't have the basketball, he's fine.
Yep.
But once he gets the basketball, he's fucked.
Oh no, he's shooting. Boucher.
Oh, from anywhere.
Oh, anywhere at any time. Doesn't matter how close the defender is. That's going up. That slingshot is going up. But you know what the positive is here? This season is about two things. Here are the two bright spots. This season is about making sure we get the San Antonio Spurs a lottery pick so they can build around Wemby so they can get 2 lottery picks this year. The second positive is making sure Dennis lives out his dream of being a starting point guard, a leader, and a closer on an NBA team. And you know that picture what kind of went viral of the Raptors in New York eating. They look like they were reading things and like strategizing, and I'm like, I'm kind of laughing at myself. I'm like, y'all are gonna do the exact same starting lineup, the exact same rotations, the exact same lineup, and Dennis is gonna run the offense in crunch time. Like, bro, I can tell you how it's gonna happen. Scottie comes out at the 6-minute mark. Gary comes in, right? Then Jakob leaves, and Precious comes in for him, and then Dennis goes out, and Flynn comes in for him, and then OG leaves, and Scottie comes in for him, and then Siakam plays the entire first quarter, right? And then Grady came. It's like another bench guy comes in to start, and it's 4 bench guys in one. Then OG, it's just like Boucher comes in at the 8-minute mark. I told you, template, right? He wrote it in pen, he laminated it, and he framed it above his bed. It's not changing. And when he does try to change, or he's bullied into changing, it's too late. We're 4 games under 500.
Yeah.
4 games under 500.
To anyone who's wondering about the thing that Coach Mo just talked about, this is a picture of Darko Rajakovic and the coaching staff in New York last night. Yeah, and they spotted a dude who's actually from Toronto, but who was in New York for, I think he wanted to watch the Leafs and the Raptors this weekend. And he happened to be wearing a 2019 Raptors championship hat. And so they noticed him, and they were respectful. They didn't say anything to those guys, and they kind of let them eat. But then when they were done eating, they came over, and Darko shook their hand, and he said, "Nice hat," etc. And they were very nice. And ultimately, when they left, what the guys at the table didn't realize is that Darko had paid their bill. So it was like a very sweet story, and I think it's very nice. And Coach Mo is right; it has sort of semi gone viral, I guess. I don't know. Is this 608 likes viral? 39,000. I guess that's pretty viral for a small account like Pensari Basketball on Twitter. Oh man, if these dudes better fucking like watch it. If I ever figure out Twitter, like the influence game is over. It's the one. It's crazy because last year we were trying to influence change for the Raptors without a Twitter account. So this year I'm gonna figure out Twitter, Instagram, plus this. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on? Do you agree that Dennis and Scottie have like zero chemistry?
No. I think it's not necessarily them having zero chemistry. It's just they have very different goals when they're on the basketball court, like in terms of what they're wanting to do. with the basketball. Like Scottie's modus operandi is to go like as quickly as humanly possible, and Dennis's is to go as slowly as humanly possible. You know, so I'm just not like I'm not really sure. You know, like and so often there's so much useless motion in the Raptors offense that generates absolutely no advantage
Absolutely
for
nothing.
anything. Like Scottie cuts across, like literally no one's paying attention. Scottie pops up at the top, literally no one's paying attention. It's like basically the defense is like, all right, we'll appreciate that you guys want to run around and do a whole bunch of stuff and make it look like you're doing stuff, but here's like what we're gonna do. We're just basically gonna stand 4 guys in the paint, and we're just gonna kind of like try to grab a rebound for when you guys miss. You
Yeah.
know, it's not overly complicated. This team is so routinely going to beat itself.
It's so predictable what we do. It's so predictable because it starts off the same way every single time. And routinely, there's like 4 or 5 seconds that are they're just eaten away. It's gone.
Yeah. Maroon Prince saying we've basically given up on McDaniels. Good. It should have happened a long time ago, man.
And
Like I don't mind giving the guy another chance like in January, but bro, like no.
you know, when you guys were talking about Dennis missing games, which I've talked about before, I was like, this dude, they need to amputate him. He's never leaving. I'd be interested to see what this team looks like for some reason on this. Like, let's say randomly next game, Dennis and Jakob aren't available. I'd actually like to see what this team looks like.
They would look better.
If those 2 guys were not available, I
100% they would look better.
I'd pay like $50 just to see this team without those 2 players for a whole game. And I want to see what happens.
See, the problem is like who plays in place of those 2 guys, right? So that was the entire, you know, thing last year where the bench sucks. How can you possibly bench Fred VanVleet? The bench sucks. Well, it's like, yeah, because sometimes when Fred goes out, you bring in Delano Banton, right? So what I would like to see, like, okay, so let's agree that Dennis Schroeder is a rotation level guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's agree that Jakob Poeltl is a rotation level starting center, like an average starting center in the NBA. Okay. I just think these are the wrong pieces. It's not that they're not talented, they're just the wrong type of player. So what I would like to see is like Jakob Poeltl replaced with a rotation, an average center. What's an average center? Just an average center that's not him. And Dennis replaced with a rotation level guard in the starting lineup that's not him. And then see it. So what would that actually look like? I don't know. Let me think of an average center. Isaiah Hartenstein will be an average center.
That kid in Miami that started for Bam, who shot threes.
Oh God, that's not an average starting center.
He shoots threes. He shoots threes.
Well, he shot threes against us.
Naz Reid. Is Naz Reid an average center?
Yeah, Naz Reid would be a great example. So someone like Naz Reid, I mean, he signed for like what, $14-15 million a year. I mean, like we're not talking about replacing him with an MVP candidate. We're not trying to replace him with an all-star or a top 10 pick. It's just a random average player. Naz Reid is an above average player, but he's an average level starter. So, I mean, like even you take someone like Miles Turner, is he a top 7 center in the NBA? Not really. Like he's kind of in like that top 10-ish
and you
territory.
Saw what he did, and you saw what he did against the true star, and then Anthony Davis. He got destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. So, yeah.
That's funny. I will pay for Darko's dinner if you just. This is the comment of the night. It's so funny because everyone was saying that for him picking up those guys' dinner, like he knows that he's not picking up the Raptors' fucking dinner tab this year because they're never going to win 3 straight this year. So the fans got the dinner instead.
No,
but Mr. Shadow, I love this comment. That's hilarious.
I've seen where it's like he never wants the Raptors to win. Like Darko, there's this joke where Darko doesn't want to pay the dinner, so it's like, oh shit, they're on a run. Get Darko in the game.
You mean Dennis?
Get Dennis in the game. But
what a Freudian slip you just had, right?
Oh no, I'm not a fan of his. Not a fan at all. I'm not a fan of the front. I'm not a fan of much on this team, honestly. Not a fan of the front office right now. Not a fan of the coach. Not a fan of.
Careful, he might get called a hater.
I'm not really a fan of Dennis, and well, he's on 7 teams in 7 years, so that's no news. Ask any team he's played on the past couple of years; they're not singing his praises. So I'm not like, yeah,
I mean,
actually like. He just doesn't fit.
realistically, did the Lakers actually choose Gabe Vincent over him though?
Yeah.
Because they used that money to
Yep.
sign
And
him,
I'm
right?
pretty sure Dennis came off a minimum, and I'm sure his agent asked for something more, and they're like, all right, later.
I mean, he's definitely not a minimum player, but I also don't think he's a full mid-level player.
No, he's not.
Like, I think he's fair value for Dennis if he was not a starting player and playing so many minutes. I think it's about $6-7 million. I think he's a $6-7 million player, and you're paying him $12 million to come in and be your starting starting point guard, because apparently Darko Rajakovic thinks that opposing teams are going to run high school full court presses against you.
Which is
Gabe
crazy.
Vincent is younger. I don't care. Like, I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan of Gabe Vincent at all, man. Like, I really am not a fan.
He's
of
barely played, and when he has, he's stunk the joint up for LA.
Oh,
he
he's
hasn't
been
been
terrible.
good. He hasn't been good.
Lakers fans seem to like him. I don't care. Compare other mid-level players. He is mid-level. It's our fault for not having a full guard rotation.
You know what's funny, Rob?
Dude, Marin Prince, your defense of Dennis is getting like nauseating. How can you continue to stand behind this guy, man? Like, how? Dude, he has a higher fucking career usage than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and a lower career value of a replacement than Corey Joseph. Rectify those two thoughts in your mind, man. How do you justify a guy being a constant second option on a team where he is not even the top 5 player? How? It's crazy. It's just absolutely insane. I don't get it. Yeah.
It's crazy because our championship roster, the year we won the championship, Dennis wouldn't get on the court. 1. Number 2, our guard rotation was so good. Norm struggled to get on the court.
True.
Norm was struggling to get on the court because he had Lowry, Danny, and
Norman Powell. Norman Powell would be the replacement level guard.
He'd be your best guard right now. And in our championship year, he struggled to get minutes. That's the talent fall off.
Yeah, it is.
Norm would be your best guard right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Are there any do you have any final thoughts? And also, if anyone else would like to call in, here's the link is in the description, but also in the comments there. I would love for some new callers to come in. I'd love to talk to some new people. If you want to call in, it's really simple to call in. I don't think I've described this to a lot of people, but you literally just click the link, and whether you're on your phone or a laptop, as long as you have an audio setup, it's simple, nothing to download. So yeah, I wish more people would call in. There's a lot of really smart people in this community. We'd love to hear from some of you guys to hear if you have some solutions. But really, honestly, at this point, if I had played, like, I'm just curious, like, if I had played the post game from the last time they lost to the Knicks, at what point do you think people would have realized it was a rerun?
Oh my God, I know. And it's getting really annoying how Darko just dodges questions. Like, he's in the beginning, he was like answering questions, and you were like, man, it's so refreshing that he answers questions. And you were talking about how he sometimes tries to explain things to our dumb media, and it's like, it's kind of cute. And now things aren't going well, and he's now giving non-answers, right? Now we're going into non-answers and dodging. And my question to you is, assuming there's no trade for like a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long do we just keep the status quo in terms of sub patterns, starting lineups, rotations, minutes? Like, how long do we just stay the course?
I don't know. I think there's such a mandate to win and develop, and you're not doing either right now. You're going over everything right now. You're supposed to implement a new offense. You haven't done it. You're supposed to develop. I'm not seeing great development. I mean, you can say Malachi and Scottie have been better this year than they were last year. You can say Precious is turning a bit of a corner. You can certainly make a case that OG's better moments are getting better than they were last year.
Mm-hmm. Who's been our best bench player? Who's been our best bench player?
On very, very low volume in terms of impact, Otto. In terms of, box score, like volatility impact, not Precious, Boucher.
Bingo. It's Boucher. And you know what? He's playing 14.6 minutes. And he's been our best bench player. So you can say development, but you got Dennis playing as much as he is.
Yeah, but a player who's 29 is, expected to be better than a player who's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, typically. But that being said, not necessarily. That's fair. And also, yeah, it is pretty depressing to know. But he's also getting paid more than those guys too, isn't he? He's getting paid $11, $12 million a year.
He is. And we bid against ourselves for that too. Didn't need to give him 3 years.
Nope, we did not. Yeah. Karen Hall, do you suppose Scottie has any sway or influence with coach or front office on any of this? Who to start, etc.? Good question. I honestly, I don't necessarily know that. And even if I do think that he should and could, I don't think he would. If that makes sense. Does not strike me as the type of person to go and demand changes to the starting lineup or whatever. But hopefully that's something that he can develop over time because, when I think I was like 8 or 9 years old, I sort of learned to not question the coach, right? And then we had a coach, I think when I was 12 years old or whatever, 13, I can't remember. I was very young. And we had a replacement coach come in and he swore he knew how to coach basketball. And then by the end of it, we were trying to basically drop a new playbook using NBA live playbooks. So that's when I learned just because someone is in a powerful position, it does not mean that they necessarily know what they're doing. And then naturally, I very soon after watched, players like Rafael Arujo go in the lottery. And I was just like, oh shit, like you can be paid millions of dollars and still suck like balls at your job. And that's just the truth. So sometimes players do have to, save coaches and general managers from their own bad ideas. And of course, sometimes you're going to say, well, shouldn't the people who are tasked with managing a roster or managing a team know better than the player? Yeah, it depends on the player, man. Like Scottie's a really smart guy. Like he's a really smart guy. So if he's seeing something out there like this lineup is not really working, like I would trust that. I would have a lot of trust in that. He's not an average player.
Last thing I want to say is if we do change the starting lineup, we know who's getting out of the starting lineup.
What do you mean?
We know who it is. We know the guy who's staying and the guy who's out. It's the guy who doesn't close games. It's easier to pull that guy out.
That would be such a mistake.
But it's true. It's going to be Yaka if it comes down to it. So it's like a win-win for Darko. It's like, okay, I changed the starting lineup. I gave you guys what you wanted, but he still keeps his guy in there. It's like a half compromise.
Like, look, as much as I would like to, amplify the pressure to bench Dennis, I do have to try and concede and try to see why is he starting. There really are like 3 things that, at least in theory, he's supposed to bring. Number 1 is release, in terms of ball handling.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's supposed to be a reliable guy who can get the ball from point A to point B without being extremely error prone or turnover prone. Okay. Number 2 is point of attack defense. He's someone who supposedly can be quick. Jason Williams saying, yo, Rob, yo, what? I'm sorry. I have Richard Temple's question up here. I just don't want to forget about it. So maybe I could just make a note for myself that at the end of this live, I can definitely tell you a little bit more about Pendance. But yeah. And then number 3 is that he's supposed to be able to, apart from being a reliable ball handler and a point of attack defender, he's supposed to be a guy who can sort of get paint touches, right? Like he can sort of slither around. And I like the player type, just not the player. Like there are players out in the league that are what I call Dennis adjacent. They're like a little bit like Dennis, but they're better. Like they're just way better. Like they're like either a little bit bigger, better paint finishers, whatever. So it's like it's almost irrelevant. Like if he can get a clearing, like part of his ball handling ability is likely to be able to, I don't know, get an advantage on Maroon Prince saying dynamic guard is what you mean. Yeah, but like dynamic shifty guard, yeah, they don't grow on trees, but at the same time, how dynamic are you if you rarely can finish in the paint, and if the defense leaves you open, you're going to shoot like 29% from 3? Like that's your passing is not that dynamic. So it's like it's a not very dynamic guard. It's so mid, and the need for that not so dynamic guard to be such a big part of your offense is what makes this worse. Because had he just settled into like okay, I'm definitely the 5th option and I'll be a release valve for Scottie and Pascal. Like if, close clock situation, you need to get a paint touch and you need to get if you need to get the ball reversed the other side, you need to get, someone in the paint, you need to get someone to hit a shot last. Like 18% usage Dennis is what I'm after. Yep. If he could be 18 to 17% usage Dennis, I'd be pretty okay with him being a starter. The problem is he insists on being 22% usage Dennis, and that 5% gap, not to mention the number of touches he gets, not to mention the amount of deciding power he has in the offense, not to mention his go-to play within that starting lineup is basically running pick and roll with him, right?
It's a 6-second eater of the clock.
Exactly. So it's like whether he wants to run it like he wants to run 2-man with him and Jakob, then he wants to run 2-man with him and Pascal, then he wants to run 2-man with him and Scottie, and it's just like, bitch, why are you always one of the 2 men? Why can Scottie and Jakob not do this?
I know.
Or why can Pascal and OG not do this? It doesn't make it's like this guy thinks he's so dynamic, it makes the offense less dynamic.
And Jakob is like programmed to inbound to Dennis every single time, and he's programmed to set screens exclusively for Dennis. It's weird. This is a weird thing. And if I'm the opposing team, Rob, and tonight I'm looking at the assist totals, and I see Dennis with 10, and I see Scottie, Pascal, and OG with 11, I'm saying yes, victory. I'm saying victory.
Yeah. I want to do you remember so the interview that everyone's talking about where Darko allegedly says that he's not handing him the keys, because this is the thing. Darko has openly said he's not giving Scottie the keys. First of all, Maroon Prince, come on, man. Like, be better than this. That's not exactly what he said. Okay, perfect. So December 7th, media availability at 15:20. Okay, I'm definitely gonna go for that, man. Hang on.
Yeah, open that up so we can all see it, and then it's not good though. It's not good. It doesn't make you a fan of the guy anymore. If you didn't like him going into today, it's
CT. Please respond to what? Respond to what? Respond to what, man? Okay. All right. So while I just wait for this to load, and while we wait for the Raptors post game to be posted, I'll hold on. God, pop-ups everywhere. Ads. My God.
All right. I'm gonna head out and save the people the misfortune of staring at this any longer than they have to.
Yo, that barber is so famous because of you.
I actually have an afro right now. I haven't cut my hair in like 2 months. I'm looking for a barber, and I want to go shake this guy's hand. I don't want him to cut me though. I don't need a haircut from him though.
Oh my God. If he did that to you, shit. All right.
All right, later.
Okay. Peace, man. Okay. Let's pull it on. You said 15-20 mark, right? Okay. Okay. So I got two here. I got December 7th, 15-20. Let's get to the 15-20 mark.
Playing above the rim, like he will not be great with that.
You guys haven't had a lot of lineups with Scottie without Malachi or Dennis on the floor this year. Is that about having sort of a pick and roll guy and offensive organizer on the floor, or why have you done that, and how do you think Scottie would fit in that?
First of all, look at the indignation on his face. Like, he looks so like, how dare you fucking ask me about that? His eyebrows are raised, his lips are perched. Like, this is like, this is not good, Darko.
I mean, you need a guard who's gonna help with alleviate the pressure or bring the ball up the floor. When Scottie is just by himself on the court, sometimes things gonna just pick up full court and make it hard for him to bring the ball. He needs somebody to help him. I think he's good handling the ball in pick and rolls and making decisions, and it's definitely part of his development, doing that more and more. I just think that sometimes have another guy who is capable of bringing the ball and get it set and organized is helpful.
Okay, so y'all are playing fucking broken telephone. Nothing that he said there is wrong or controversial. He didn't say he's not giving him the keys. Like, fuck, man. I'm actually pissed off because y'all been talking about like how he said that he's not doing it this year or whatever. Yo, like, y'all, like, fucking, like, do you read? Like, oh man, I'm mad. I'm mad now. Like, I'm mad. I'm happy to hear the full quote, but like, what the fuck are you talking about? He didn't say anything there that he hasn't said all summer and all year, and he hasn't said anything there that was even remotely controversial. Absolutely, you should have another guard on the court with Scottie who can actually handle the basketball. What's wrong with that? That's not saying anything. Also, I will say, like, I mean, it helps to have two players like that. It always does. You know, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, right? Like, which one of those two players looked like a traditional point guard to you? One was drafted as a shooting guard. The other one was drafted as a center. I mean, those are two kind of like point adjacent players. They can both sort of set up for you, right? Now, I think the difference between how Darko is approaching this and how I would approach it is that I actually think Pascal is a type of guy who could possibly do that for you. Now, is he smart enough to run, you know, your offense and table your offense? No, he's not. But, you know, like, I mean, maybe this is taking the good with the bad and the bad with the good and just saying, okay, like, we need a talent overall boost in talent. And certainly, you know, the overall collective IQ between OG, right, and Jakob is sufficient, right? You're not going to be great in this, and other teams are going to have guys who are better. But like, who's the second guy who can do that in the Knicks starting lineup? Like, you have Jalen Brunson. He's your table setter. Who's the second guy who's doing that for you? Not Mitchell Robinson, not Randall. I'll tell you that. You know, not RJ. I'll tell you that. Right. So Emmanuel Quickly. So okay, you got Quickly and Jalen Brunson. Okay, that works. Right. You got DeJounte and you got Trey. That works. Right. The Spurs have absolutely no one, and that doesn't work. Right. Yeah, no, I think guard play has become an increasingly important part of the NBA landscape, and teams that win have point guards and guards in general who can set up. Tony and Manu is a great example, right? Like, when you really go around the NBA and you really start thinking about it, right? It makes sense. But you look at, say, for instance, the Celtics. They just have Drew. Right? I mean, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are not setting up anyone's offense. I'll tell you that right now. Like, they're capable, but they're not setting up anyone's offense. So the issue is not, necessarily, oh, Dennis is starting. The issue is how his role in how him starting is impacting the other players' spacing, number one. So, yes, the issue is him playing with the starting unit. That's number one. Number two, the issue is the amount of usage and touches he gets as a starter. So he's not simply release valve when Scottie gets in trouble, which is what he should be. He is like Scottie's the release valve when Dennis doesn't have it going. Dennis always gets to pick. You know what I mean? Like, when you have the ball so much, you're the one who gets the options. You know what I mean? Like, you get to pick and choose when you're going to go, when you're not going to go, what you're attacking, what you're not attacking. You get to decide. And I don't think Dennis should be a decider in the offense. I don't think he should be able to decide, you know what, this needs to go into Siakam right now. I think that's better for Scottie. I think Steph and Draymond. Yeah, that's a shit. What am I saying? Yes, you're right. Drew and Derek White. Yes, of course. Fuck am I saying? My bad. Yes, you're 100% right. Maxey and Embiid. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So my point is, like, why can't Siakam be a I think Scottie can do this, man. Like, I think Scottie's a better pick and roll ball handler than people realize. I think he's a transition terror. I would just like to see it. I'm ready to say I think Darko is wrong about the fact that Dennis needs to be that secondary ball handler. I don't think he needs to be. I would be curious to see if at some point this team could, if they do make a trade at some point in the next month or two, if they get a guard, like a dynamic, even shooting guard, like a combo guard, off the bench, like a player who would work ideally next to Scottie is like a Jamal Crawford type, like that type of player, Ben Gordon, if to my 2000s 2010s guys, right? Exactly. You need a combo guard. That is exactly it. You need a Colin Sexton, a Jordan Clarkson, that type of player, not a guy who's trying to be a fucking traditional point guard who has the shooting ability of, a 1980s point guard. Like, it's not, it just doesn't work, man. It doesn't work with Dennis. I don't know how else to tell you. Everything you're like, I think the best way to describe Dennis is you're getting 3 good things and you're losing 10 very, very bad things. Wait, you're getting 10 good things. You're getting 3 good things and getting 10 bad things. That's how I would say it. Perfect. Yes. This. Yes. 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 Basically, yes. Like, I mean, the Keontae shit might be a little bit early, but yeah, like, basically you need somebody who can relieve pressure. And I just look, Scottie's a really smart player. Okay. If you pressure him once, he might get flustered if he's not expecting it. He may even choke the ball up. It might happen. It could happen to basically anybody. If you put a really small guard on a player this big who dribbles this high, right? It can get tough. Okay. I get that. But over a couple of times, if a team does that to him, if they sustain that strategy, he will kill them. Like, he will shred that defense, right? And that's the advantage of being a super smart player, right? He's going to have guys going full court. He's going to be throwing them fucking football passes and touchdown passes in the end zone. So, like, you're not going to be able to sustainably pressure the Raptors. And NBA teams don't fucking play this way, Darko. They don't play this way. They don't play this way because it's fucking exhausting. And it's NBA athletes are too good. You cannot full court press an NBA fucking offense, man. Şengün got bodied by Wemby. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, let me see if the post games are up yet. Why? Why does it take so long for the post games to go up? Can someone let me know if the post game stuff's up? I'm not seeing it. Yo, Vince, what's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Love the name Julius Handles.
You know it.
Are you a Julius Randle fan? Am I about to like? Are
Oh,
we about
no.
to not be friends anymore?
No, I don't like
Okay.
Julius Randle. No.
Like
I
I
said
like
Julius.
you, but I don't think our friendship could sustain a random admission of Vince is suddenly a Julius Randle fan. I cannot stand that dude.
I like you, but I don't like you enough to accept you into my friend group as a Julius Randle lover. No,
Yeah,
I
no.
don't like Julius Randle for the
I-
same
I-
reason I'm not a big Siakam fan.
Bro, I'm pretty sure if tomorrow, like my girlfriend of nearly 4 years told me that she was a Julius Randle fan, that would be the last day of our relationship.
Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this right now.
I think she's listening to it right now.
I actually, that's true. If she's with you, she's probably like, yeah, hell yeah, I would never be a Julius Randle fan. Although he did crush tonight. Give him props. Give him props. He handled his business tonight.
Yeah, he played well. You know what's funny? I used to like him. I liked him a lot at the draft. I liked him with the Lakers. I don't know why I've grown to dislike him so much with the Knicks, though. And it's so funny because like the Knicks are my old team. You know, like I used to live in New York. I'm from New York, but like fuck, man, I don't know. Something about just like I don't know, his energy. Like he's just weird. I don't know.
He kind of does. He kind of does the same stuff as Dennis when even on nights where he did like tonight he had it rolling. So you give him the liberty to do what he wants. Of course, like I think he shot like 12 for 17. He played amazing tonight. But like on nights where he doesn't have the matchup, he still like forces the issue. And that's what makes it like people say the same thing about him that we say about Pascal. He's just a low IQ player. It's not that he's all together untalented. He's got talent for sure. He's just
Oh yeah, for sure. He's
just a
always
dumb
been
player.
talented. He's always been really, really talented. It's hard, you know, like it's hard to get 10 assists as a dumb player in the NBA, but I guess, you know, anything's possible. Anyways, what'd you think of the game tonight? And why is this German dude still starting for us?
Oh man, I was like every time him and Yak check back in the game, like in crunch time, like bro, just like I ultimately, if I was really rooting for this team to win, I would care a lot more. I would be more visibly frustrated. But I'm
Are you
just
rooting
like
for losses right now?
Not rooting for losses. I just know that they're in water treading mode right now. That's all they're doing. They're just treading water. I think Masai is to some
Bro, they're
degree,
drowning. This bro.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
This is like
Trying to
oh
tread
my
water.
god.
Yeah, I should have said.
Yeah, they're not treading. They're drowning. This is like in Jaws, like when Chief Brody's kind of like just like the boat is like half under, but like everything's just nice and calm. This is the Raptors right now, and the fucking Atlanta Hawks back to back is like just like the shark just circling.
Sure.
Dun-dun.
No, when I said treading water, I was referring more to the front office than the team. The team is drowning. It's irreparable at this point, unless a trade is made. But I think the front office is just treading water. I think they're just waiting and biding their time, seeing what they can get. I'll tell you this much: it's not helping their cause in any way that they keep losing these games. Now tonight, they're never winning this game tonight. Okay, the Knicks shot 60% from three. Okay, you're not overcoming that against any at a pretty high.
Why did they shoot 63%, 58% from three?
I mean, not all of them were like wide open shots. Like they still have.
Are they just having like the most phenomenally terrible luck ever? Because like honestly, like okay, so there's such a so against Charlotte, I think 67 to 70% of their shots were contested threes, right? Yeah. but Charlotte still at one point during the game was shooting 64% from three.
Right.
And tonight, the Knicks nearly shoot 60% from three.
Right.
And these numbers are so fucking high that to explain it with simple shooting luck and variance is very hard.
I think
that
it
it
is.
keeps happening.
I honestly think it is to some degree. To some degree, sorry.
You think it's variance so often, like the amount of times that this has happened to the Raptors, where I think it's okay. So like that's why I think like confidence, momentum. There's a lot of shit, right? The Raptors' offense is stagnant, super stagnant, right? It's basically one guy or two guys involved in a play at one time. It's not like the whole team is never clicking, right? Like there was a play today where I guess because Grady didn't know, or Precious, like it's very Precious is like a glitchy 2K character.
Yeah.
On offense. He's basically just like those those games. Have you ever played NBA 2K? I'm just curious.
No, not really. Like
so sometimes in NBA 2K and in early models of NBA 2K, sometimes like guys would be like kind of like stepping outside their jerseys, or like one guy would end up like going through the rim or through the post or whatever. So like these glitches happen. Precious Achiuwa is basically a 2K glitch. Yeah. Like where it's like every time I see him on the basketball court, I'm like, what? Like why is he there? Like he's like I mean, it was that play with Dennis Schroeder, if you remember, like where he and Dennis ends up in the same corner, right? Then he sets a pick on Scottie's man while Scottie's like trying to do a post up. I'm just like, bro, I mean, what the fuck am I watching here? And then today it was like there was a three where like Grady is properly moving over, and he looks next to him and it's like Precious is right there. And it's just like, whoa, someone kind of missed the dive to the rim.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. And you know what's the even more sad thing?
That he's a professional basketball player?
No, the saddest thing out of all of that is the fact that he is actually included in our best 5-man lineup. If you can believe that. Our best 5-man lineup right now is Scottie, OG, Pascal, Malachi, and Precious. Those 5 are our best starting 5 right now. Okay, you can throw Otto in there, but whatever. Otto's injured. Otto's like, he's not around. But like right now, as of right now, I was like today, I was like, keep Malachi in and keep Precious in. Okay. This year compared to last year seems straight up washed. I don't know what he's doing up there. He cannot finish. And if he's anywhere close to the rim, he's getting hacked and he's making one of two. Right? Like he's not that good on defense. He can't really move his feet. He's not contesting. He doesn't get into guys. He doesn't really protect the rim all that well. Right? So what is the point of Jakob? Dennis is a horrible decision maker. He's like running the offense, I guess. Like, what the fuck am I seeing? Malachi Flynn is better than Dennis right now. Let that sink in for a moment.
That's tough. I mean, he is, but it's not really, but kind of. But like,
I'm not saying Malachi Flynn is great. I'm just saying he's better than Dennis right now. Because
he's not better. His role is better. Like if Dennis agreed to play like Malachi, then actually still Malachi would be the better shooter. And here's something more important. Malachi would still be respected as a shooter. I don't know how much people are respecting Malachi as a shooter, but I think teams respect him a little bit more than Dennis.
Okay, over the last say 10-game stretch where Malachi's been playing, he's been serviceable, right? I haven't been keeping track of the numbers. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. Eye test would tell me he's shooting 35-ish% from 3, 30, 35, 37. Flynn?
Who is Flynn?
Over the last 10-ish games or so, right?
Right.
And like I have confidence when he's wide open. I have way more confidence that it's going in than Dennis, right? And so if that's the case, just split those fucking duties 50-50. They can play a little bit together here and there, but
Right.
Malachi should be playing like 28 to 30 minutes a game and scale Dennis's role back a little bit, right? I don't know if that's an admission of guilt. I don't know. And the reason why I said earlier that the front office is treading water is because I feel like to some degree,
Hmm.
Masai is telling Darko, no, you play Dennis because I want to see if he sinks or swims, right? And he's sinking like a fucking stone, right? So I think this is a sort of like tough love type of thing. Dennis looked
Right.
completely like beaten tonight. He couldn't get by anyone. That's his thing. He's supposed to be the paint touch guy, right?
Hmm.
He couldn't get by like Brunson, who's not the greatest defender or that quick.
Right.
He like what is the point of him if he can't get into the lane?
That's a good question. This is Malachi versus Dennis this year. Don't look at the raw numbers. Don't worry. We're gonna get a little bit more detailed.
I'm looking at a tiny little screen here, so I can't really
Okay.
see.
Okay.
Here, you know what? Here, I'll pull it up on my laptop. Hold on one second.
Okay. So, I mean, I think advanced and per 100 are going to be a little bit more useful. So, in terms of assist percentage, Dennis is at 31%. Malachi is 18%, largely because I think that Malachi is at 15% usage, which I very much appreciate.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. That's what it should be.
It really should be.
Dennis should be at.
Malachi's shooting better. He's 54.2% true shooting. In terms of 3-point percentage, they're both pretty bad. They're both at 33%. Free throw percentage, Dennis is 10% better. Assists per, that doesn't matter. Malachi's been a better rebounder, better on the steals, better on the blocks, less turnovers per 100 possessions, but also lower usage.
But this is the entire season, right? Like this is the entire.
Yeah.
Like this is
so
like.
I mean,
Malachi
this is
was
good, bad,
lost at
all of
sea.
it. The gap is not big. I mean, people want to think the gap is big right now. It's not big, and you have to consider that Dennis has been given the opportunity to play with better players throughout. And I would be very curious to see what would have happened if their roles were reversed, because I think that Malachi is, despite the fact that they're both shooting 33%, I have a feeling that defenses just respect him a little bit more.
I think so too. And I think that at the end of the game, when Dennis was dragging ass, I was kind of like low-key hoping that he had a little bit of an injury just to see what it would look like if
you
Malachi
are the
was
second caller to like suggest that it might not be the worst thing for Dennis to have an injury. Okay.
Like not even having an injury, just like give the guy a few games off. Right? He's obviously
he's earned
tired.
He's earned it. He's earned it. Like we feel like we the Raptor fans believe that Dennis Schroeder has earned some time off.
100%.
Like the league has strict policies against load management. They don't want stars. Good luck. Good news. He's not a star. So that's good.
Don't worry.
Right. And, I feel like the fans deserve this. Dennis deserves this. His wife, his kids, they could use some more time with him,
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what the craziest thing is that I still don't even hate Dennis as a concept. I still like him better. Like I swear to God, I saw the same plays during this game that happened last year with Fred, where like nobody could break down the paint. It gets swung to point guard X at the top of the key, and Fred last year would have hoisted a 3-pointer that would have clanged off the rim, and Dennis either passes it to somebody who's completely covered, or makes a half-assed attempt at getting in the lane, or if there's enough time, he calls Jakob over and tries to get a pick and roll going, and that which goes nowhere.
Exactly.
Right? It's so weird. It's so weird. But hey, listen, this is just none of these games matter. We're riding out these games. We're waiting for a trade to happen. We're hoping that Pascal doesn't lose too much of his value so that we can get something in return for him. I think our only hope right now for any value is if enough teams want him, that it kind of creates a little bit of a bidding war. And I use that term very loosely with respect to Siakam.
I agree.
Earman out, rude boy.
Okay. Let's play the post game. I'm gonna pull us both off screen. I'll bring you back on in like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. It's not a very long one. You cool with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Cool. Okay. I'm just gonna pull the post game. Very curious to see what these guys have to say for themselves. OG.
Okay, Oshi. Walk me through this one. This is now your guys' 4th straight loss and another tough one.
I think we came out good, but it was like kind of a shootout. Both teams were scoring a lot, and they made a lot of tough shots. We had some breakdowns, but they had some breakdowns too. But they just made a bunch of tough shots. But I thought we played pretty well.
What was the difference down the stretch, OG, for you guys in terms of your defense? You were going back and forth a while, and they were stringing a few buckets together to pull away.
I'm not sure. We had a couple rotations, and they ended up getting an open 3 a couple times. I think Josh hit one. I don't know, maybe Quentin hit one. Just ball movement, close out, close out, close out. We're all scrambling, and they hit some big shots.
Despite the loss, you had a season high. Walk me through what you were seeing offensively out there.
Just being aggressive, continuing to shoot, even if I'm missing, just continue to be aggressive, and then also look to pass to my teammates, look to play make, do everything, being aggressive.
About like 23 games into the season, what do you think this team has done well, and where do you want to see you guys improve in the coming stretch here?
I think we're growing every day. We're getting better at everything every day, and we're going to continue getting better, and just taking it day by day, just trying to improve each and every day.
You talk about being aggressive, but what exactly are you seeing on the court in terms of making the reads of when to pass, when to take the open 3-point shot, or just when to drive?
Just how they're playing me. They're being aggressive on me, like forcing me inside the line and driving in the paint. If there's help, passing it to a teammate, or if I see a teammate open, not even trying to drive, just passing it immediately. And then if I feel like I can hit the shot, I'll shoot it.
How much do you feel like it helps your own game that you're able to hit the 3-point shot consistently? How much does that open driving lanes for you?
I think it opens it up a lot. It helps a lot.
All right, Malachi, obviously a tough loss, but tell me what you're seeing, especially coming off the bench. You kind of have a feel for the game as it is playing out in front of you, and you were able to step in. So what did you see?
I think just a couple possessions here and there that we just giving up little stuff, backdoor cuts, not rotating defensively. So once we clean those up, we keep saying the same thing, but if we clean those up, we'll be a pretty good team.
You had some solid contributions tonight offensively. How do you find things are going for you right now?
They're going okay. Just trying to come off the bench and help the team in whatever way it can be. Sometimes it's dishing the ball a little bit more. Sometimes it's knocking down shots. Today was a little bit of both, so I just try to come up and help the team win.
We played a good enough offensive game to win it. Scoring 103 points on the road is something that we could wish for before the game, but defensively we were just not at the level that this type of game demanded. Give a credit to New York Knicks. I thought that they made some of really, really tough shots, a couple of buzzer beaters, but at the end of the day, we still needed a little bit more physicality to open up the game and not allow Randall to get going on the post-ups. We just needed to be better tonight, and as the game progressed, our transition defense was not great, and that allowed them to touch the paint, to score easy layups, and to fight open shots.
I know physicality was one of the points of emphasis that you said in the beginning of the game. This is unfortunately number 4 losses straight now. What do you tell the guys here?
We got to continue staying together. We got to continue bringing it every single day. Tomorrow we're going to have a practice and meeting and watch the tape and analyze what needs to be done and what needs to be improved in those tough moments. The most important thing is for the group to stay together and to keep believing in each other that we can turn this around.
Bigger picture through the first quarter of the season, what have you liked from your guys so far, and what do you feel like as a team overall you can improve so far with a good sample size thus far?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're making some strides offensively. The ball movement is good. We're playing more of team basketball on the offensive end. Defensively, we started the season pretty well. We were pretty aggressive, and for whatever reason lately, we did not do a good enough job bringing that physicality and that energy that defense demands in this league, and that's something that we need to improve on.
What did you see from Scottie tonight? It seemed like his stat line was pretty good across the board. What did you see from him, and how has he continued to grow in that role?
And I think Scottie overall did a good job. I expect Scottie to, like whole team as well, to take challenge on the defensive end and to guard the toughest matchups over there. I just believe that he's one of those guys that can do it on both ends of the floor. He just continues to grow into the different roles offensively, being as a screener, as a handler. I thought that overall was a good game, but he needs to continue growing. We need to continue growing.
What did you see from OG, especially in that third quarter, 15 points? What was your thoughts on him tonight?
He made a couple of open shots there. I thought at the start of the game he was getting open looks as well. They did not go through in the third quarter. When he was on Randall there in the second quarter, I thought that he did a really good job with physicality and extending his catches and getting stops. That third quarter was a high scoring point for him, but we need to have that on the defensive end, that mentality from everybody.
All right. This is Groundhog Day. This is the Bill Murray movie, Groundhog Day, over and over and over. So, are you familiar with the Ali G NBA commercials?
Hear me now. A little.
I would love to just play all of them in succession to give this chat like a funny ending. Are you down?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Do it.
When's the last time you watched them?
Oh, long time ago. I was a big Ali G fan. I actually did. I saw some of the commercials, but I've never done a rabbit hole deep dive. So this would be good.
Okay, let's go. I hope I don't get demonetized for this.
Hear me now, rude boy. Name be Ali G representing the West End's massive, alright? So, what's your show called?
TNT NBA Thursday.
Alright, and what's it about?
The NBA.
What day is it on?
Thursday.
Is this show about Thursdays, or is it about TMTs?
TNT, it's about the NBA.
What's a TMT?
TNT.
Is it dangerous, man?
I think I have found a professional career choice for Precious Achua in case this whole basketball thing does not work out.
Right.
Just interview basketball players about basketball plays.
I was looking at you now, Colby, and with full respect, you look ridiculous.
I look ridiculous?
Don't you think you should start paying a bit more attention to how you dress on the court and maybe perhaps wear a suit or something?
Wear a suit on the court?
No doubt. Come on, all pimped up, blinging. Kane, ice in it.
Then how you gonna dribble?
Yo, man, forget about the dribbling. Pimp limp. Has you ever been in the playoffs before?
I've been in the playoffs 13 times.
What has been your bestest achievement in the playoffs?
I hold a record for stealing.
Stealing? Yo, is you mental? There's cameras in the room. Him has admitted nothing. Him said him has got the record for peeling.
No.
Peeling potatoes.
No, it's stealing.
Yo, recording this. Check it, because I is here with none other than my main men, Tim Duncan and Robert Horry, innit? So what does you get for winning the final?
Each player on the team gets a ring.
Is your ring made out of the kind of gold that actually floats in the bath? Because that's what these is made out of. Them is the best.
The rings we get are a little better than that.
Does you get like chinchilla coat and like your own private jet? Just fly and go, oh, yeah, all right, Steve, why not? Yo, Timothy, in the playoffs, is it true that you sometimes get cut price sneakers?
A lot of guys have shoe deals, and we get free sneakers.
You get sneakers for free?
Yeah.
Because my 4-year-old nephew is very, very ill in hospital. Would it be possible to get him a pair?
Yeah, sure, I can sign some sneakers for him. That'd be great.
He's size 13.
I miss these. I wish that they could do them today.
Check it. I is here with none other than
Yeah,
my
there's,
main man, basketball
you can't
legend,
say mental
Shaquille
anymore.
O'Neal. So tell me, Shaquille, is it well hard to get into the NBA, or as it's better known, the Nationwide Basketball Society?
The NBA stands for the National Basketball Association.
All right, I think it's the Nationwide Basketball Society.
It's National Basketball Association. I should know. I've been dominating for 13 years. Don't tell me.
So you claim.
So I know.
Let's agree to degree.
No, we don't have to agree to disagree. I'm telling you.
Maybe it's a English-American thing.
It's not an English-American thing. In London is NBA. In Africa is NBA. In China is NBA. In
For real, the NBA, the Nationwide Basketball
National Basketball Association. I'm not going to tell you again. Okay? National Basketball Association. Okay? Thank you.
In your opinion. So.
It's a fact.
So you claim.
Shaq did not know. Shaq was not in on the joke.
Check it. I is here with none other than my main man, Shaquille O'Neal. Enough respect.
What's up, baby?
Is it well annoying being very famous and having all these hangers on? Like, is you his +1 or what?
I'm D-Wade from Miami Heat, number 3.
Did you get dressed up like that just so you could sneak in through the door?
Are you serious?
If you hang around outside, he'll give you an autograph or, you know, even a signed photo, if that's cool. Check it, West Side. This B.I.G. represented with my man, Kobe Bryant. Yo, respect. How many springs does an official bowl have in it?
How many springs? It doesn't have any springs in it.
Well, how does it bounce then?
It's air. There's air in the ball.
Well, there's air in this room. How come this room ain't bouncing?
You know what I would love to see? You remember those Kobe Bryant detail episodes on ESPN where he details like a particular play or play style or play type? I would love if Kobe was alive for one day, not that he would spend his one day alive on this, but for him to detail a Precious Achua screen on a post up. Like,
bro, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said he just like it's just glitchy. Like, I cringe when he has the ball. Like, see, you know the last play of the game where he had the ball in the open court. The whole time I was just like, oh God, just please don't do anything too stupid. He fumbled the ball twice. This little hook shot that just grazed the front of the rim.
Oh my God!
And yet he's the best. He's one of the best players in the start in the lineup.
You keep saying that, and it baffles my mind.
I be here with basketball superstar Thomas Jefferson. Respect.
Richard Jefferson.
Cool, but you got into the NBA because he was the president's son, innit?
No. You're thinking Thomas Jefferson.
Him just made one phone call in that White House. What's it called?
The White House.
Get me son in the NBA. No, he can't play. No. Get him in there or off with your head. Dude, that's it. Phone call over. Check it, me is here with none other than my main man, Ben Wallace. Does you work well hard to maintain your weight?
Yeah, you have to work hard to maintain your weight.
And does you work very hard to maintain your height?
My height is something that came natural to me.
So how hard would me have to train to become as tall as you?
I don't think you'll ever become as tall as me.
Yo, man, don't play a hate, yo. Just because I was from the UK.
I actually thought he was. Isn't Sasha
You
Burns
pussy,
only
you
like 6'7", 6'8"?
He's not 6'8". He's about 6'3".
There's some show about baseball.
Okay. I thought he was way bigger.
Or he might be 6'4". Like, he's pretty tall, but yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought he was Ben Wallace's height, like 6'8", something like that.
Ben Wallace, believe it or not, was actually 6'6.5".
Really? Wow.
Yeah, 6'6.5", 6'7". It was the hair. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Basketball.
Yeah, whatever you says tomato, I says potato. What's this show called?
TNT NBA Thursday.
Ain't nobody gonna watch that. No offense, but come off it. As you seen you three together. Why don't you just get free fly honeys? Talking nonsense. Who cares what them talking about? Let them mention the NBA. People watch that, innit? Check it, Isaiah, with Steve Nash. So, you was last season's most valuable player, or as it's called, the MP3. What was that like?
No, I was the MVP.
MP3.
Not the no, I wasn't.
You was the MP3.
No, I wasn't.
No disrespect, but you as Canadian too. You don't even speak English, so shut up.
No, we speak English in Canada.
Don't waste my time.
Whatever you say.
Can't understand what you're saying. You're speaking in Canada. Let's chat about the playoffs. How many games does the teams have to play each other?
Well, it's the best of 7.
So it's the first team to win 7 games goes through, isn't it?
No, it's the first team to win 4 games.
Oh, this is basically play-by-play of the Raptors trying to understand the rules of the in-season tournament.
Right, so it's the best of 4.
Well, no, see, it's the best of 7, and the first team to win 4.
All right, Einstein, chill out. Stop showing off with all this number stuff. It's about going out there, having a laugh, and getting some exercise, most importantly. Check it out with the TNT pussy, alright? So what is the playoffs?
The NBA playoffs. Win or go home. 40 games in 40 nights.
What, you either win or you go home?
Yes. Or what we say sometimes, going fishing.
Fish. Them is like naturals in the water. So does you film the fishing part of it?
These are basketball games. It has nothing to do with fishing.
I love fishing. Can't wait to watch some of them guys do it. I is here with none other than my main man, Steve Kerr. So check it. How many games is there in the playoffs on TMT?
Well, it's TNT.
Whatever.
We have 40 games and 40 nights.
40 games and 40 nights. That's like that Bible story, isn't it? About that ship full of animals driven by that old woman.
Noah.
Of course I don't know her. She's been dead for over 100 years. Hear me now. Check it. Me is here with none other than the main man of basketball, Kobe Bryant. Kobe, you was well told. Does you get very annoyed when people ask you all the time, what's the weather like up there? Does you hope to achieve the ultimate dream of every player and one day join the Harlem Globetrotters? When me play in the UK, sometimes me let one of my plums hang out of my shorts and then me go, don't you think that the NBA should come up with its own style of clothes rather than copying rappers? So wouldn't you one day be like to be promoted to the bench? Wouldn't the playoffs be much more better if you didn't allow in the crap teams? Kobe. But seriously, what is the weather like up there? Is it a little colder? Don't be hating.
Okay. I think we needed a bit of a laugh after this trash ass stretch of games that the Raptors have played. Where is this team if they lose the next 2 games to the Atlanta Hawks?
Oh yeah, you're going there. I don't think they're.
Well, what do you think they're going to win? They're going to win 2 against the Atlanta Hawks and save their season.
I think it's possible they split. They're both games are at home, right? Is that right? Are we playing at home both? Yeah, we are. We're playing both games at home. I know because I sold both tickets today. Both sets of tickets today.
Both games are at home?
Yeah.
Well, now I'm shocked.
Yeah. It's a little bit of
that's weird.
I think they'll split. They have a tendency of like surprising us from one game to the next. I do think they also, if whenever they play a team that they can physically dominate, then and they happen to be hitting shots, then they can usually do that. Who's in their starting lineup right now? So they got Trey, they got DeJounte, they got who's Sadiq Bey in the starting lineup because Jalen Johnson is out, and Clint, and who am I missing? Bogey? No,
I haven't been paying attention to them, but like let's see, like their last game was,
yeah, they played tonight. They played tonight. Sadiq Bey, Capella, Trey, DeJounte, and Garrison Matthews. Okay, he played 17 minutes. And okay, Bogey played 36 minutes, so it's Bogey is the nominal fifth starter.
He's good.
Oh yeah. No, I like Bogdanovich, but he can be dominated. He could be, depending on he could be physically dominated, depending on who's on him. Let's say he draws who's gonna check Pascal in this lineup? Either him or Sadiq Bey. Right?
No, that's fair. I mean, with Jalen Johnson out, but jeez, I don't know, man.
AJ Griffin's not getting any run, bro. Look at this. 9 minutes he played tonight. That's fucked.
He's 20 years old.
I know, but he's they only have,
and he's also defensively compromised. And they already have a player in the lineup who's defensively compromised, which is, Trae Young. He was born defensively compromised.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean,
I guess. Is he a bad defender?
AJ?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's bad?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay. You hear about him, 6'6" wing kind of guy. He should be able to hold his own now.
Bro, Bogdanovich had 40 points tonight.
Yeah, he dropped 40. 10 threes. He hit 10 threes.
Oh, boy.
So for the people who are just penciling Bogdanovich into a trade for Siakam, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they're about to give up Bogey, AJ Griffin, Kobe Buffkin, and 2 picks. That's not happening.
They played. I mean, okay. Where's Hunter right now? Is he injured?
Oh, he was hurt today.
Is he going to be available? Not that I think he makes much of a difference.
Yeah, he's not that good defender either.
He's okay. I think Hawks fans would tell you that he's their best defender, or one of their best defenders. I mean, they
played Denver, so
they got pretty thoroughly. I mean, they didn't get smacked by Denver. They got beat by Denver. And
I think the score looks closer because they made a fake comeback. They outscored them by 10 in the fourth quarter, so they were they were up big. Look, third quarter was 38-24, right? So they
fair enough, but a 7-point loss is a 7-point loss. We won by 6. We lost by 6 tonight. So I mean, I don't think anyone thought that we got smacked. But yeah, no, fair. And I mean, it's not like Denver just cleared their bench, right? Did they? I mean, they played guys that they're typically used to playing. I am very interested in the fact that Julian Strother, had 6 threes tonight for Denver, 22 points. That's huge. He's a rookie.
Yeah, they
right?
Another
a 4-year guy, Gonzaga. It's interesting. I've been watching Strother for a while. Michael Porter, he had 3 points tonight.
It's almost advantageous sometimes when you're a really good team drafting in the high 20s, because you could just get
he was one of the last players picked in the draft, man. In the first round, I think he was
pick 28 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he's they always. I mean, we got when we were really good, we got OG at 26.
Your audio is going weird right now.
Oh yeah, sorry. These AirPods might be running out of juice. But yeah, when the Raps were good, they got OG. When they were drafted 26th, they got Pascal in the 20s sometime.
Yeah, OG was 23, DeLon was 20, Pascal was 27.
Right. That's man.
But Malachi was 28.
You gotta tip your cap. But I don't know, man. Part of me thinks that they should split both OG and Pascal and do a hard rebuild. The other part of me
do you want to just unplug your AirPods, because you're going in out. It's
okay, hold on.
Yeah.
How's that?
Better. I mean,
Okay.
it's consistent.
Yeah, I've got the wired ones.
How does it feel to be a peasant? Just kidding.
My backups. Yeah, no, listen. They being able to being able to draft in the 20s is actually advantageous because you can miss on a pick and it's not that big a deal, and then you can also get sort of like the scraps of whatever's left over that other teams because other teams are always shooting for high upside.
Yeah.
Then you could just get solid guys at the end of the draft. And that's what Denver's been doing pretty much every year with Christian Brown, Julian Strother, right?
Yeah. I think so I'm curious about market inefficiencies. Like what picks are overvalued, what picks are undervalued in the draft, right?
Right.
I think top 3 picks are fairly valued. I think everyone's kind of figured out that that's probably your best bet to pick up a superstar year over year, right? Yeah. I think the places in the draft that are most consistently undervalued are picks 20 to 40. I think if you have multiple picks in that area, you can get a lot of guys in for workouts, and I think that's probably like the underrated part about all of this is you ultimately need to get guys into your gym to evaluate them. Not that you didn't have years and years potentially to scout them, but just getting a feel for the prospect in your gym, getting a workout, getting a bite to eat with them, getting to know them. And it's hard to do that when you don't have the pick, right?
Right.
So like maybe the Raptors would have been able to work out, certain players, but they didn't have that 20th, 21st pick that they traded. They had the 33rd pick. And it's the same thing with the 13th pick, right? Such a weird pick to have because there's all these guys that have like an idea in their heads that they're not falling outside the top 10. So you're not getting them.
Right.
And at 13, there's all these guys that think there's no chance in hell they're going to be lottery picks. And they're always going to be post 20. So it's like in the 13th pick range, it's one of the most difficult picks to have because there's like 10 guys that think they could possibly go 13th. Because Anthony Black, he knows he's not going 13th. Cason Wallace, he probably thought there's no chance in hell I'm slipping. And, you obviously get guys like Scoot and Wemby and, Asar and those guys, they know they're not going 13th. And then on the flip side, you have guys like Julian Strother, and they know they're not going up to 13th either.
Right.
So maybe sometimes it's like it's beneficial to have like a pick, like 19, 22, something like that.
Yeah.
Where some of those late lottery guys are like, maybe I do this workout just in case I fall. And then those like early second round guys, they're like, maybe that's my realistic ceiling too. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, having multiple picks is the greatest thing because then agents can really, really sell it. So if I could just have like permanent picks in a draft, I would want to have picks 6 and 25. Like that to me is just fucking awesome. 6 and 25, I get to work out pretty much everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a good segue into something I started to say earlier before my headphones fucked up. Would you rather just trade Pascal and keep OG, like sign him to a contract that he's definitely not worth, but like have to overpay him? Or would you rather just trade both of them, get as many picks as possible, and try to get into the OKC tank type scenario?
I would rather trade just Pascal.
So you want to keep OG?
Yeah. I would like to keep OG for a lot of reasons. But the most important one being that I think he fits. I think he fits with what you're trying to do defensively. And yeah, like Rob might be smarter than Masai, no joke. I don't think so. Not when it comes to basketball, man. But
You can start Giants of Serbia.
Serbs are already giants.
Yes, that's true.
Not me, but everybody else. Everybody else in my country is huge. Okay, so let's see here.
Yeah, somebody in the chat made up a good brought up a good point though. If we do keep OG, then it's harder to bottom out that way, right? And get and like the nice thing about what.
But what is
OKC
the objective of bottoming out when you
Well,
have a superstar in their prime?
It's just getting as many kicks at the can as possible, right? In the draft is like, so you're giving up both Pascal and OG, hoping that you can wrangle up, between 2 and 4 picks, like maybe, yeah, say 2 picks per draft in the next upcoming years. Right. So that you have as many kicks at the can. Like look at what OKC did, right? It's like they traded for what was going to be a future superstar in Shea, right? Then they bided their time. They traded away like useful players for picks along the way. They took on bad contracts so that they can get more picks, like in the 20s and in the second round. Right. And now they have what I think is going to be the best starting 4 in fucking Shea, Chet, Cason Wallace, and J Dub. Those 4.
Did you say Jason Wallace? Cason Wallace.
Cason Wallace and J Dub, Jalen Williams, the Santa Clara Jalen Williams. Right. So those 4.
He's struggling this year. He hasn't been great.
He is, but he's still a solid player. He's still he's in his second year. Like, that's scary.
But he was an older rookie. That's also scary.
Maybe.
Like, is he better than Herb Jones right now? Is he better than Trey Murphy? Is he better than those guys? Definitively.
I think he's better than Herb Jones because I think his offense is just always going to be better than Herb Jones. And I think that Trey Murphy, better shooter, obviously. I think overall smarter play. I think J-Dub's overall smarter player and overall more well-rounded game. So better combination of pass, shoot, dribble than Trey Murphy, but Trey Murphy's got obviously elite 3-point shooting ability.
Yeah. So ESPN needs IKD saying Jalen is not struggling. I beg to differ. So just to put this into perspective, for a guy in his second year, like his true shooting percentage is still solid, but it's the same as it was last year. His PER is almost identical to last year. His usage is 3% higher. And his box plus minus has gone from positive 0.3 to negative 0.4. Like, that's, to me, like, that's struggling. Because in a second year for a player who was already an older rookie, you expected a jump this year. And I'm sorry, I'm not seeing a jump here. Like, by the numbers, I'm not seeing a jump. Granted, I've watched like 5 OKC games all year, and my focus during those games has mainly been Chet. So I'm like doing a lot of Chet research, but like
I think the bigger issue for him is not playing alongside Chet. I think it's playing alongside Giddey.
Josh Giddey. Yeah, and I mean, like he's a decent 3-point shooter, but his volume is down. Right? He's a low volume. Per 100 possessions, he attempts fewer threes than Scottie Barnes. Way fewer threes than Scottie Barnes.
No, I believe that.
So that to me is, bigger. He's certainly not the biggest problem, but you're certainly not going to present him as 1/4 of the best starting lineup in the league.
No, I mean future bets here. I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think they're there yet. I do love their team. I love that team. And
I like their coaching staff. I like their organization. I like Sam Presti and his overall, basketball acumen. Now, you mentioned earlier that OG potentially could be overpaid. I hear you. Here's all the top paid players in the league. I'm curious who you think OG is better than or worse than. Also, new TV deal going to come in. So let's just strike out who he's better than or worse than. He's not better than Steph. He's not better than Durant, Jokic, Braun, Embiid. Okay,
Right.
but would you rather have OG than Bradley Beal?
Today, yes, for sure.
I mean, bro, look at Bradley Beal's contract.
Yeah, I mean that everybody knew the second he inked that contract that was one of the worst in the league, especially because he had a no trade in there.
Sure. So, I mean, that's ridiculous. So like, I mean, Bradley Beal being the 6th highest paid player in the league and maybe at best right now being the 40th best player in the league. I mean, that's if everything goes right. He's not even close.
Right.
This is a horrible contract. Okay.
We still also haven't seen that big three together for even one game this season. So
I don't need to see it together to tell you it's like he's overpaid. No matter it could fucking look great. He's still going to be a negative defender.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Paul George.
I'm taking Paul George. I'm taking Kawhi. I'm taking Giannis. I'm taking Dame. I'm taking Jimmy. He's better than Clay right now. But Clay is coming off the books after this year.
Clay is coming off the books, but he wants another one of these. He wants that money.
Yeah, he ain't
again.
He ain't getting that this year.
Yeah. Is he better than Rudy?
Yes.
Gobert.
He's better than Rudy. He's better than Fred. He's better than Zach. He's better than Luka.
Shut up.
Just kidding. No. Yeah, Fred. So he's better.
He's
than
better
Fred.
than Tobias Harris. He's better than Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons. That's a good one. He's better than Pascal.
Yep. He's better than CJ McCollum. He's better than James. He's close to James Harden, but he's marginally better than James Harden. He's not better than Darius Garland, John Morant,
but
Zion.
Let's also keep in mind that what he qualifies for is going to be like significantly more than Darius Garland and Ja and Zion.
Yeah, but like he doesn't have to get paid $40 million to start. He doesn't have to.
I think someone's so Philly this year, it has a lot of guys coming off the books, including Tobias Harris. And you see that fat 39 million that Tobias Harris is coming off?
Yeah, that goes to zero.
That's going to be an offer to OG.
$39 million to start.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much more the Raptors can give him. Like do you know what the percentages are? How the rule works, where the team, like the incumbent team, can pay more?
No, I think they'll be able to give him an extra year if I recall correctly. That's the advantage, and higher raises. But they won't necessarily be able to give him a higher starting year.
Yeah.
So but I mean, like,
is
OG Anunoby a max player? Like I mean, I don't think he's a max player.
He's arguably the best
3-and-D guy in the NBA.
The best 3-and-D role player in the NBA. And if anything, like, there's a reason why every competitive team this year is clamoring to trade for Alex Caruso, but nobody wants DeMar or Zach. You know what I mean?
You want to know what's funny? Julius Randle makes $28 million. Jalen Brunson makes 26. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. Like the entire Knicks roster. I mean, we have gone from the 2000s under Isaiah Thomas, in which, like, I just want to see the Knicks salaries. Hang on one sec. Because it is like their cap management is fucking amazing. Look at how deep this team is. And look at what they're paying their players. I mean, we paid Pascal Siakam 20. Okay, everyone talks about how underpaid fucking Dennis Schroeder is at $12 million. Is he better than Josh Hart? No. Is he better than Dante? No. Is he better than Isaiah? No. Is he better than Emmanuel? No. Is he better than Quentin Grimes? Fuck. Like, I mean,
No, they're
shit.
playing Moneyball right now.
They really are. I mean, they have one bad contract on their whole book right now, which is Yvonne Fournier, and that's it. Like they got RJ.
That contract is an asset. Okay, because they can take in that, like, they need something juicy to get rid of one if and when they want to trade for somebody big. It's been speculated that's going to be Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe.
I mean, how the hell do the Raptors have the 13th highest salary? Like, the Raptors pay more for this sorry ass roster than the Knicks do, and the Raptors don't have anyone as large as Yvonne Fournier just sitting at the end of the bench in terms of that money. Like, just to give this, like, who's overpaid, underpaid, overpaid, underpaid, overpaid, probably overpaid, massively underpaid. This is massive underpayment. But, like, I mean, okay, they got dead weight here, but, like, where the fuck is this money?
Well,
like, this is without Fred.
A lot of it's coming off the books next year. That's for sure.
Holy shit!
Yeah, look at next year's payroll. It's $84 million. Once you get rid of Pascal, OG,
Gary, and did you talk about on this live stream? Did you talk about Gary at all?
What would you like to talk about with Gary Trent Jr.? How bad he was today? He was really bad.
I'm like, I just don't understand how. Okay, so the whole thing with Gary is that, like, if he's starting, then he's serviceable. He gets into a rhythm. He hits his threes.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's not on the Raptors, what team is putting him in their starting lineup? Okay, go to the shit teams. Is he starting over Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball in Charlotte?
Well, he's not starting over LaMelo. No, none of these guys are starting over LaMelo, but I mean, he could start over Terry Rozier. Don't rate Terry Rozier.
I'll fucking take Terry Rozier on this team right now instead of Gary Trent, and I would fucking pack his bags for him. Like, please give me Terry Rozier, and you know what? Give me Terry Rozier in exchange for both Dennis and Gary.
Wow. Okay, that's too extreme. You're rating Terry Rozier, bro. Terry Rozier is the 5th best player on a 7-win team. Can we put this into perspective? Just how bad do you think Gary Trent Jr. is?
I mean, tonight he looked listless. He looked like somebody just kicked his dog. I don't understand what's up with him.
Jeez.
I've seen that guy on fire. I've seen him hit.
Bro, I've seen Gary Trent Jr. hit like fucking go on a streak of like 27 points per game or 26 points per game for like weeks, man. Like, this is a certified scorer who's just not scoring right now. And I mean, like, I refuse to believe. Okay, but like, look, man, I mean, I don't need to necessarily want to go into it on air about like how I know this, but like, I know he put in a ton of work this offseason, like, to get way better. Right. He worked damn hard. So I'm just inclined to say that, 22, 23 games in, like, I struggle to see like the role that he has, like where he is. He's not like, see, the thing with guys like Rozier, LaMelo, even guys like De'Aaron Fox, is these guys can kind of just Dennis Schroeder, like their handle is the superpower, which can allow them to sort of, create for themselves. But for Gary, it's like so much of what he is going to do is going to be predicated on like the players he's sharing the court with, right? And how clean the looks they're providing for him, how clean the screens, But it's like we don't judge like every player who needs a lot of help to score, but like it's a team game, Rip Hamilton required screens to score. He's running around screens all fucking day and whatever.
Sure.
And so, yeah, if you remove the screeners, like I remember, it was Rick Carlisle or Kevin O'Neill. I think Kevin O'Neill was one time, was a conversation with Kevin O'Neill, was talking about how the Detroit defense basically funneled guys baseline into Ben Wallace, and how they had this entire sophisticated strategy where they would redirect all offense into the baseline funnel lanes, and they had this entire strategy to build this defense around Tayshaun and Ben Wallace, and everyone just had to kind of come in and help with that, right? And it resulted in a ton of blocks for Ben Wallace, right? But then minute you put Ben Wallace and the Chicago Bulls signed him, and they were just like, all right, do this for us. Everyone said he was washed.
Right.
It's the system, man. It's a fucking 5-on-5 system, you know. If you take Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., you take all these guys away from Jokic and you give them a bunch of guys who don't want to fucking move, it's not going to work.
Right,
you have different coach, different system. It's like very few players can just go out and do stuff without the other four guys helping to some extent. And I think Gary's just one of those guys that needs to play off of players who can work with his strengths, and he has strengths. Like I think it's terrible asset management to have a player on your books, $18+ million. You spent 3 years, on and off starting him, trying to develop him. He is, to his credit, expanded his game a little bit as a passer, as a finisher, as a ball, dribble drive, live dribble creator. And he just looks so lost out there all the time. He just looks completely lost in this offense. He's getting these quick hooks, quick stints, and maybe being on the bench in a contract year is fucking with his head. But he's 24 years old.
What it is. That is 100% what it is.
I don't know if you can say 100%, but yes, it's a likely outcome. It's a likely reason.
Yeah, it's just like but that kind of is a black mark against him, because if you be a star in your role, that means if you're getting 20 minutes a night, you got to figure out a way for yourself to be as effective as you can in those 20 minutes. Don't sulk. Don't put your head down. Oh, I'm better than Dennis. Why is he starting over me?
I don't think it's so conscious. I don't think Gary Trent Jr. is going out there and saying like he wants to be bad, or he's trying to play badly. It's very difficult when you get a rhythm with a certain group of players, or you need, as much as we talk about Scottie, having to carry some very suspect, basketball lineups, Gary's spending a lot of time on the court with Precious and Boucher too, this is tough. You got 3 guys who really, really like to shoot, right? And then you got one guy that's in that lineup that's often anchoring those units, which is Scottie, who is the guy who should be taking a lot of shots in that unit. And it's just like, how many guys do we have on this team that are more shot happy than Scottie Barnes? 7, 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you said you didn't play 2K, but in 2K, they every single player has tendencies. It's like sometimes you have this it's funny. I used to play my GM mode and my dynasty mode and stuff, and there was this thing you couldn't change your players' tendencies.
So if you're a chucker, you're a chucker.
Yeah, that was the shitty part. So you could have a player you draft, let's say you draft a player who's a 2nd round pick or whatever, and somehow NBA 2K fucks up and they give this guy a 99 shot tendency, a shooting tendency of 99. I promise you put this 59 rated player in your starting lineup, he will average 22 points and create your fucking offense.
Sure.
But on the other side, I remember that I drafted this completely fictitious, totally fake player once named Jason McLeod or something. And he was 88 ranked as a rookie, 88 overall. Only problem, his shooting attempt or shot attempt tendency was 58.
Okay.
It sucked. This guy was a 99 overall player who averaged 14 points per game, and I couldn't get him to shoot more. But if I ever played a game, I could score 100 with this guy, no problem.
Sure.
Scottie is basically the Jason McLeod.
Sure.
You know, he's just a guy who doesn't like disrupt rhythm. He doesn't like look for his too often. And certainly you wish he would, you know, and you certainly wish a lot of these other fucking NPCs like would stop.
He's biding his time. I think he's biding his time. I think he knows that something's like for sure. Front office has had him in private meetings and being like, listen, this is not going to be our team for the whole year, right? We're going to be making moves, right? And so I feel like he's just biding his time. And at some point, it's going to be his time, and the ball will be in his hands a lot. Like, you know, for better or worse, you know, he's not a finished player yet. I think anybody who's watched a basketball game can notice that he's the best player on the court. He's just not showing it right now because
who's Scottie?
Yeah. Or he's not.
But he is showing it.
No, he's showing it, but he's not like grabbing the reins of the team the way he should. Right. And I think it's only a matter of time.
I think that's also like down to his skill set. Like there are certain guys where their skill set is like to go out and be alpha scorers. You know what I mean? Like go and score 40, 50, 60 points. Like they can do that. Jamal Crawford is a guy who could do that, you know?
Sure.
But then you have a guy like a Scottie Barnes, and that's really never been his game. And I don't know if it's ever going to be his game. But in fairness, he's averaging nearly 20 points per game on a team that often, you know, struggles to score 100 points in a game.
Yeah.
He has, you know,
20 tonight on 13 shots. That's very efficient.
Yeah, and I mean, he's averaging 19.8 on the season. He's averaging 38% from three on the season. His three-point attempt rate has gone up through the roof. Like, if I pull up his stats right now, it's pretty impressive. There's this comment here from P. Hey, Rob, is Scoot a bust? What are your thoughts on
that? Mine or yours?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
No, he's not a bust. He's like played like under 10 games in his career.
I agree.
Look at him tonight. He played great. Or I don't know. His numbers are great. I don't know. It's tough when you're looking at box scores. If you look at Dennis Schroeder's box score tonight, you'd be like, oh wow, 20, 10, 4 steals. He had a good game. He did not have a good game today.
I agree. In terms of Scottie, here's something really shocking. So, you know, value replacement is like a cumulative stat, right? I've already mentioned that. Dennis Schroeder has a 3.1 value replacement on his entire fucking career, right?
Yes.
So here's something funny. This is Scottie Barnes' last 2 years, including tonight's game. So that's less than 100 games for Scottie Barnes, and he has a higher value replacement than Dennis's whole career. Crazy. That's one. But the most impressive part about this is that last year in 77 games, he managed a value replacement of 1.6. This year, he accomplished 1.6 in 22 games. That's worth noting.
That's crazy.
Also worth noting, the 6.1 box plus minus and the value of replacement are both top 10 ranks in the NBA. Right? So that's also worth noting. If you look at his, he's a very good player.
Very good. And it's only a matter of time, dude. That's why this season is just like, what's happening right now doesn't even matter because it's going somewhere else. Like okay, I don't want to say it for sure because it happened last year. Everybody thought Pascal was getting traded last year. Didn't happen. But I don't think that's happening this year. I think moves will be made. I think Pascal is going to go for picks. I think we're probably going to be upset with who we get in return for him. But even if they do quote unquote lose the deal, right? I think that long run it'll make the team better.
Agreed.
Short term, it's going to make them possibly worse. Although he just seems to fucking be pretty terrible these days. But he's the kind of guy that you need the right team around him. If that guy goes to Golden State, he's going to look mint. He's going to look fantastic, right?
Agreed.
And so I don't think two quick things before I forget. One, did you notice the 3-pointer that Scottie hit in the first quarter? It was around the 30s. It either brought him up to 30 or 32, 33 points. And they only gave him credit for a 2.
Yep.
Did you notice that?
Complained about it endlessly. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just like, so they just didn't give him credit for a 3. And that happened, and it wasn't overturned.
They should overturn it after the fact. It won't impact the game at all. But it will impact his season because it'll help him, I don't know, present this. But in fairness, I think I mentioned that I definitely already mentioned this in my first 20 minutes of the rant.
Okay.
But the Raptors got away with 2 flagrant fouls, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Malachi on RJ and Siakam on Josh Hart, to me, are both flagrants. Like, I think another referee crew calls it a flagrant.
The trip,
the
trip, and then the hitting like around the face.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, like, it's just it's the frustration. Like, to me, like, intent is everything with flagrants, and like, Malachi was frustrated. He missed the layup on the other end. He thought he got fouled. He comes down and he nearly takes RJ's head off. And then Siakam, this is just past behavior, man. Like, he just always does this.
Right.
Anyways, something very interesting to point out with Scottie Barnes here. People said he did not improve last year. I want to poke a hole in that. Look at some numbers that have been going up and numbers that have been going down pretty much through all 3 years. And this is, just to take a look at these numbers. Field goal attempts have gone from 7 per 100 have gone from 17.8, 18.8, 22.1. So we're going up, okay, which is good, right? Usage has gone from 19 to 20.3 to 24.3. So that's going up. Field goal percentage took a dip, okay? But field goal percentage is not necessarily the relevant factor here. True shooting percentage is, because he's taking way more threes, right?
Sure. Yep.
So he's gone 55.2. There was a dip last year, 52.4, but he's now 56.3. So he has improved even on the true shooting percentage from year 1, where he was largely not creating most of his own shots, right? He was getting a lot of stuff created for him. Steals, 1.5, 1.5, 2.4. Blocks, 1.1, 1.1, 1.8. Okay? Turnovers have been going up as well. 2.6, 2.8, 3.4. Per 100 possessions, points have technically gone up every single year. 21.7, 21.8, 27.6. So we are seeing free throw attempts have gone up. 4.1, 4.5, 5.5. Also good. 3-point attempts have gone up massively. 3.7, 4.1, 7.3. So his 3-point attempt rate has gone up from 20.7%, 22% to 33%. He wow. So his 3-point attempt rate last year was 22%. This year is 33%.
Crazy.
As an attempt rate, that's awesome, right? And his box plus minus, like, year 1 to year 2, there was a fall off, 0.9 to 0.4. But this year at 6.1, that's awesome. Like, if I look at leaders in the NBA, it's like he's in some.
It also goes to prove how smart he is as a player and how unselfish he is. Like, some people are considered selfish for taking more threes. On this team, he has to take them.
He has to, and he's put it upon himself. Even though that he's not like a natural 3-point shooter, never has been. He's taken it upon himself to work on that part of his game so much to the point where he's like, I don't know if he's leading the team in percentage, but no, OG must be leading in percentage. But it's
OG had some really tough games. I'll check that right after, but look at this. This is Scottie Barnes on the season, 8th in value replacement. He has the identical value replacement of Steph Curry, who's having a great season, by the way.
And Giannis.
And Giannis. So he's tied for 7th, really, in value replacement in the league. In terms of box plus minus, he is 10th. He is ahead of Alperen Şengün, Donovan Mitchell, Kristaps Porzingis, Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, Chet Holmgren, Kawhi Leonard. Man, he is.
Can you imagine if we had Tyrese Maxey on this team with? Oh my God, Jesus Christ! To think of all the could have beens.
Yeah, there's a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas for sure.
What's he
in terms of offensive box plus minus? Now, this is shocking. He's top 20 in offensive box plus minus. So his defense has fallen a little bit because like I think he started out the season like really like maximizing most of his value was coming defensively, or at least it was like a 50-50 split. Whereas now it's like a lot of it is actually coming offensively as well. So in terms of like the Raptors, you want to see where like the rest of the Raptors are, man, it is fucking depressing. Okay, so in terms of 3-pointers made, in terms of total, I would not be surprised if he's leading the team in 3-pointers made total. I would not be surprised at all. Damn, close.
It's got to be OG,
After
right?
tonight, wait, how many did OG hit tonight?
They're neck and neck. Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, OG's played fewer games. But
like Gary Trent is supposed to be the 3-point guy.
Yeah, but look at this. Okay, like OG's a 3-point shooter. Like people consider him a 3-point shooter, right? Not only have they hit almost identical numbers, they have done it on an almost identical percentage, dude.
Right. That's so crazy.
And OG's having a better 3-point season than he did last year.
Right. I mean, there is a difference. They are giving Barnes right now those shots, and they are not giving them to OG. So there's a little bit of a difference there.
But they're also giving Pascal Siakam those shots, and he's shooting 20%.
Right.
And they're also giving Dennis Schroeder those shots, and he's shooting 33%.
Listen, this is my biggest gripe with Pascal right now is like how bad you are at threes. Like I don't know if the fact that he's shooting 20% this year is an indication of how little work he put in on the offseason. I never want to speculate. I wasn't with him. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know what he did, but like, bro, if you're not working on your threes, like that's bad.
In terms of points per, avoid Garrett Temple up there with his glorious 16 minutes of brilliant play. Mm-hmm. But per 100 possessions, Scottie and Pascal are scoring very similarly.
Yeah.
On very different types of usage. But if you compare these two players 1v1, it is not even close between who's better right now.
Right.
Not even close. And in terms of box plus minus, again, avoid those two. It's really boom. Pascal, greatest Raptor of all time, man.
Yeah, that is. You should screenshot that and be like, "Hey, he was right."
4 minutes played.
By the numbers, he is the greatest Raptor of all time.
By 4 minutes played, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a great 4-minute run, man. But yeah, in terms of the number of negative players, 1, 2, 3. I mean, even Otto, who's typically been a really, really positive player. I mean, just Otto's struggling in terms of box plus minus to me has a lot to do with the lineups he has to play with. But yeah, Dennis has just fallen off a cliff, man. If I showed you Dennis's advanced box scores through the last, he started out okay, but man, look at his advanced box score. Look at this column, right? Box plus minus. You see it? Hold on, just make it smaller.
Yeah. So when I look at stats that you put up on your page, there's a little bit of a delay because I have to open it in YouTube on my laptop screen.
Okay.
So because I can't see it on the phone that my camera's on.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So starting there to there, that range of terrible Dennis play.
Holy
starting at the
shit.
game 10 mark to the 20th mark. But then it gets even worse in the last 2 games where he posted negative 19.3 and then negative 12.8. So basically this entire stretch of basketball right there would be the worst starting point guard in the NBA. And this is pretty much when a lot of these calls, I think that Chicago game, starting at that Chicago game, really right there. I think this entire stretch of basketball is so bad.
Right.
And over that stretch, he has been struggling from 3. He's You know, his effective field goal percentage has been 8%, 27%, 60%, 53%. Like, he's had a lot of ineffective games. The last 2 games, especially Miami and Charlotte, 25 and 30% effective field goal percentage, just awful. And the usage has been so fucking high. I mean, okay, so if Scottie is the high water mark at 24%, if Scottie on the season is 24%, then Dennis over those last 12 games, 18.7%, 22%, 27%, 23.7, 27.4, 27.6, 27, 19, 21, 14.4. And then this was the game that everyone just fucking lost their minds. Miami game, 27%.
Right.
And then Charlotte, he reduced it back to 17%. But it's like, yikes. I don't know. But ironically, like you know, when we there's been game 1 through 7 where we faced Minnesota, Chicago, Philly, Portland, Milwaukee, Philly, San Antonio.
He was looking serviceable.
Scottie was the first option. Pascal looked like atrocious. Pascal was -5 box plus minus.
He was terrible
on the season, and now he's plus.
Well,
so
listen, in a vacuum, I think each of these players has value. I think Dennis on the right team has value, but if you put these guys on the team with you know sometimes 3-4 non-shooters at the same time, there's no space to breathe.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but that trade, you were right on it last year. Jakob Poeltl is a good player, but not on this team. They should have never made that trade. Right? I don't care how bad this upcoming draft is. Right? They never should have made that trade. They should have let that team sink last year. We would have had Case and Wallace on this fucking team right now had they done that. Right?
That would have been great.
Yes.
And he's a good shooter. He's a good shooter, great defender.
Floor general. He is a better Kyle Lowry in the waiting in the wings. Like how they
maybe.
Probably. Yeah. Like I shouldn't say probably. Of course not. He's Kyle Lowry
he has a lot of Kyle Lowry qualities. Yes. I love Kaysen. He was the first draft prospect I talked about on this channel. Well before the draft cycle. I remember talking about him on Instagram.
Yep.
I just liked him a lot. I liked him a lot, and
I drafted him in our little 3-year pool that we did.
Yeah.
Remember?
Like it's funny. When I first started talking about Kaysen was almost last year at this time.
Yep.
And I think he was ranked 18th or 20th in the mock draft at the time. And I said, don't be surprised if this guy goes top 15. And I thought at that point, like, I was being very, very generous with top 15. I was like, man, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy goes top 10. Right. And yeah, like I just, there was something about him. And I remember like saying something really stupid. Like, I just love his name. But it was really like, I'd spent a lot of time just listening to interviews with him. And I just got this feeling. I'm like, you know what? I know success. You know, like I'm 36 years old at this point. I'm not trying to act like I'm fucking God or like that I have all the answers and I'm always right. I'm not. But I've been around the sun many times at this point, and I've been around a lot of people who have a lot of great ideas about how good they can be at certain things. And I've looked at people's eyes and I've heard them tell me they're going to do this and do that, and they're going to be this and be that, and then not do shit. And conversely, I've also seen some people tell me that they're going to be something, and then you know, watch them literally do it. And I'm starting to notice some trends, you know, in terms of things that people who succeed constantly have in common with others who've constantly succeeded. And Kaysen, just like when I listened to his interview, I was just like, how is this guy not going to be successful?
Right.
You know, there's a pedigree for success. It's how he answers questions. It's how he sees himself. It's how he sees his game. It's how he approaches work. It's his level of maturity for his age. It was also, of course, you know, watching him play, which was a very important part of this process. But so much of, you know, whether or not you can succeed in the NBA has to do with your mental makeup and you know, your approach to work ethic and your understanding of yourself. You know, like he never came into college with this idea of he was going to be the man. He's just like, yeah, whatever coach needs, bro. But like I got bigger goals for myself. But like whatever coach needs for now. So yeah. Anyways,
he's finding a way to make his game. He's forcing his way into that lineup. That should say like everything right there. Is that like that lineup and the depth of talent that they have. Even for young guys, he's forcing his way into that lineup and getting minutes and being effective right away. He's like, and if if Masai didn't trade for Jakob last year, he would be on our team. I have no doubts about that.
I have doubts about that. I think if you don't trade for Jakob, you might end up with Bilal Coulibaly.
Maybe
you think if they have pick 7, like let's say they were picking where, you know, Washington's picking, Bilal's on the table, Casey's on the table, Grady's on the table, Kobe Bufkin's on the table. All these guys are on the table.
I don't think they all of a sudden fall to 7. They picked at 13th. I think they would have gotten 9, 10, something like that. Assuming that the lottery balls didn't go too much in their favor or too harshly against them, right? I think they get, like, if you look at the if you look at where they were at the trade deadline, were they like 5 games under 500, maybe around that?
This is so ignorant, AG. No more unskilled Africans, man. Bilal is an African project. We need Americans with skill. What kind of a stupid comment is this? Honestly, man, Bilal is fucking awesome. He's a really good prospect. I think you need to watch him play a little bit more before you call him unskilled, bro. He's not fucking Precious Achiuwa. Don't get it twisted. Like, I've watched Bilal Coulibaly play a lot. Like, I watched him play last year a lot. I was very high on him at the draft. I remain very high on him right now. He is in a dumpster fire situation in Washington. He might be the best part about Washington.
Even if we had Bilal, I'd still be happy over what we have now, because at least it would be another guy to pair alongside Scottie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yo, AG saying I'm African, dog. I don't care. No offense. You could be like me being Serbian does not mean like I can just be like I'm not even saying like what you said was racially insensitive or anything of that sort, or, you know, ethnically insensitive. That's not the point. I just think that you're massively underrating who Bilal is. You know what I mean? Like it's not about what you said is not offensive because you're saying that we need less.
Yeah, he's French also. He's not African. Like, he might have African roots, but I think he was born and raised in France, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, you need skilled players. Yeah, man, but you also need fucking athletes. Like, you got a skilled player in Grady Dick. Would you rather have Grady Dick or Bilal Coulibaly right now? I'd rather have Bilal.
I hear what he's saying. Like, I would have never said this at the draft, but I wish we had Keontae George right now over Grady Dick. Right?
Yeesh.
I wish we had Jordan Hawkins right now over Grady Dick. But they look like NBA players year 1, right? So I don't know.
But there's a lot of okay. Like, I mean, like the thing with Grady right now is it doesn't look good. Okay, it's not
right now over Grady Dick.
Yeah, Jaime is making a case to be the best rookie in his draft class right now.
Yeah,
like per impact. Certainly not in terms of long term, you know, but like right now, Julian Strother is a considerably better player than Grady Dick.
Sure.
Like considerably better.
Yep.
And ironically, you know, is kind of suiting that whole, you know, we need 3-pointers need a lot better too.
Yep.
But can you imagine the outrage if we had drafted Julian Strother 13th overall?
Oh man, yeah.
like our
you
entire
can't do it.
like this entire fan base would have like collectively jumped off a cliff.
No, for sure. And
so
Orlando taking Jet Howard doesn't look as bad because they look like a good team right now.
But exactly, and therein lies the question, right? It's like how many top 10, top 12, top 15 picks struggle super hard for the first half of the season. You know,
It's true.
I
I'm
mean,
not giving up on him. I think JJ Redick had like a brutal rookie season, so it's not to say that he's going to be brutal for the rest of his career.
and Redick was older too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Grady's going to be fine, man. When I watch him play, I'm like, okay, he's not getting around that like screen, but he knows he has to get around that screen. He's not completing that pass, but he's making the right pass. He's not making that shot, but it's exactly the shot he needs to take.
Right.
It's all coming, man. Like it's going to come with him. I tell you right now, as I watch Precious Achiuwa set, like I am waiting for the day, and I feel this day coming when Precious Achiuwa goes to the third row and sets a screen for a fan. Okay. Like
it's coming. It's going to happen at some point.
It's going to happen. Okay. And if you watch Precious Achiuwa play basketball or Chris Boucher play basketball, or like any of these guys play basketball, you know that it is not guaranteed or granted or whatever. Don't take it for granted that guys just really just learn the right instincts for basketball. Grady has the right instincts for basketball. He's 19, 20 years old. So, you know, it's just, it's going to happen. Like it's going to be fine. He needs strength and conditioning, whatever. I can't even tell you, like there's certain players like with Christian Coloco, like fucking Aaron Rose's bullshit clickbait article, you know, Raptors provide a somewhat hopeful update on Christian Coloco. I nearly had a fucking heart attack. I was like, yes, thank God. And I read the fucking article. It's nothing, big nothing burger. But like with Christian Coloco and Grady Dick, I see, you know, if Christian can get over his respiratory situation and get back to full health, I just feel so much better about this team going forward with those two guys because I never have to worry if they know how to play the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's true. Hey, do you think
they definitely know how to play? They're just not good at it right now.
Yeah, that's true. Not to skip over to something completely unrelated, but it just popped in my head. Do you think that we could trade Gary Trent to Detroit for Bojan Bogdanovic?
Gary Trent and what?
Nothing. Gary Trent and nothing for Bojan. Do you think they would be silly enough to like? He would actually.
He's 34. You know that, right?
Yeah, I would rather he was on our team than Gary Trent.
He's a defensive liability, like pretty big defensive liability too.
I think in the starting lineup with him, OG, trade Pascal, Scottie.
Oh, okay.
Get rid of, like, I'm just thinking kind of like bigger picture.
So your big picture is a 34-year-old defensive liability who's a good shooter, decent offensive player.
But that fits more with Scottie.
Bojan is an okay defender, brother. No, he's not.
No, he's what that comment is alluding to is the fact that he credibly guarded LeBron James in a couple series that Utah played against him. So like he has no lateral move, he has no lateral quickness, so he can't stay in front of anybody. But if you put him on kind of bigger guys that want to back you down, post you up, he can credibly, he could guard Pascal probably.
No, he can't. I mean, yeah, in the post, he can. Look, man, like, I mean, look, like Karl Anthony Towns is a good defender in the post, okay, but this is not 1976, okay, like we're talking modern NBA in the playoffs. A guy like Bojan is going to get schemed out for sure. Rotations are late, contests are late. The way the Raptors like to play defense, he's a drop off. He's a drop off from Pascal defensively. Bojan is a smart, okay defender. Yeah, like at 28, he was a smart, okay defender with somewhat slow feet. Today, he is a 34-year-old guy who I'm pretty confident in saying
is he 34? Wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was younger than that for sure. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm trying, man. I'm looking out. I'm trying to figure out a way for this team to get better.
Yeah. Yo, do you remember? Okay,
Damn,
so here's
34.
something funny I
God
did.
damn it.
Here's something crazy I did yesterday. So, like, did you ever watch the Mighty Ducks movies?
Of course.
You did, right?
Of course. I was a child of the 90s.
As a fellow child in the 90s, does it blow your fucking mind that almost all of those kids are like 45 now?
No. No, because that's how old I am, and they were probably as old as I was when I watched those movies.
It's blowing my mind, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, holy shit. Like, all of those people are older than Gordon Bombay, which is Emilio Estevez's character in that, is supposed to be in those. Like, Joshua Jackson's 45 years old.
That's funny.
That's crazy.
Oh, it's crazy.
I don't know. I went on a crazy. I watched a whole bunch of movies, a ton of movies. I watched. I think it was called Creatures of Habit with Ben Mendelsohn.
Okay.
Really interesting movie about a guy who gets a divorce because he's not happy, and then he has to like try to piece the life together with his son and his wife. And then I watched Megan. The sci-fi movie Megan. M3 again.
No,
M3.
I haven't seen it.
It's interesting. No. It's about a robot who's tasked to protect a child, and then she's a self-learning machine. So if you can figure out what happens there.
Oh wow.
And then I watched all 3 Mighty Ducks movies back to back. That's how I spent my day being sick.
That sounds like a pretty good day. Watching movies all day.
It was certainly interesting. And then I watched and then the previous day I watched 6 hours of 6.5 hours straight of this show called The Runaway. It's a 2018 TV series based in Montreal. Stars my friend Ludivine Redding, fantastic actress. And yeah, it's really interesting. It's about a girl who gets pushed into prostitution by a very manipulative older man, and she's 16 years old. Fucking crazy.
Oh,
I don't know. Like, just anything to basically distract my brain from the fact that I am a person who covers the Raptors.
Oh yeah.
It's so soul sucking. You know, like I wish they were building to something. I wish I could see the progress. I wish Grady could get 32 minutes a night and just fucking fail for 32 minutes a night.
Yeah, part of me wants to see that too, but that part of the season isn't going to happen until after the trade deadline, right? Where there will be mutiny is if there's no trades, right? If he just keeps holding out and there's no trades, at least if there's trades, we take a step back, we gather assets, we see what we can get in a draft in a couple of drafts.
Mm-hmm.
At least there's something to potentially look forward to. I can take losing if they're not trying to win. But if they're trying to win and they're losing all these games, that's what's soul sucking. But that's why it's important to maintain. And the whole reason that I came on this live today was to be like, don't worry, guys. It doesn't matter. These games don't matter right now.
Right.
They were never. I feel like if this was the 2019 Raptors, they would have lost tonight's game because the Knicks shot 60% from 3. So it was just one of those games you're going to lose. Right?
It is hard. But if you want to look at like engagement on social media as a really good barometer for how badly things are going, do you know, like earlier in the season, like those shows with Randy and Jack, the post games, right?
Yeah. We were at one of them live.
Yeah. Like last year, like some of those were getting like 20,000, 12,000, 11,000.
Oh,
They're getting a lot of views, man.
Okay, yeah.
7,000. They got freaking Alex Wong. They got 12,000 when they got on October 25th. They got Bobby Webster to come on. Do you know the same show today, after this loss, got 690 views after 2 hours?
Wow. Holy shit. I mean, I think people are in the same boat as me. Like, these games don't matter, right?
But I mean, you are selling a fucking product. Like, so if people are not watching, your product it doesn't work. You can't.
Bro, do you want to know another telltale sign that fan attention is waning? Is that right now I'm having to sell my tickets for like $40 each. That
What?
was never. Yes.
$40?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like games midweek against
What were they going for last year? In the midst of our brilliant 41-41 near playoff run.
So yeah, if it's the games they work in tiers, right? Like if it's a name team, if we're playing like Boston or Golden State,
or Fred coming back to town. Mm-hmm.
Sure. And if they're weekend games, they're generally higher. If they're midweek games, Monday through Wednesday kind of deal, and they're against the Detroits, Washingtons, Atlantas, not star name talent.
Whoa. What is this fucking stray that you just threw towards the Atlanta Hawks?
No,
the Detroits, Washingtons, and Atlantas.
No.
My dude, one of these teams is not like the other.
I know. I just meant to say that like no one's like coming out of the woodwork to see Trae Young, right? They are a better team than us. I know that for sure, and they're much better than those other teams. But I'm just saying that like
here's a sobering question to ask. Ask the average NBA fan, who would you rather watch play, Pascal Siakam or Trae Young? Who do you think they're picking?
Yeah, well, who do you think they're picking if you say between Scottie Barnes and Trae Young?
I think most NBA fans would pick Trae Young
over Scottie. Really?
Yep.
I don't know about that, man. I think national people are starting to catch on a little bit. Right, he's an exciting player. It's just he's just on a team that has nothing around him.
What's exciting about watching a guy set fucking picks for Dennis Schroeder and roll and then not get the ball?
I said he's an exciting player. This is on a non-exciting team. Yeah, exactly.
I have a feeling right now that people would rather watch like Caitlin Clark play basketball.
Sure.
Right? Like, no. So, like, look, Scottie will be like okay, like Tyrese Halliburton right now is box office, right? People want to go see the Pacers play. Why? They want to see Tyrese play. Why? Because of the team around him, the style, the way they're playing. When Scottie gets a team around him that plays like that, then he too will be box office.
Yes.
Until then,
he's
just a guy who averages 20 points in a very uninteresting way.
Right, sure. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the point.
The point is $40 for box office Trae. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, so I literally sold a pair. So there two Atlanta games coming up. One of them sold for $58 because it's a weekend game. I think it's a Friday. And one of them sold for $40 because it was midweek or maybe a Wednesday or something like that.
I have a serious question. If Trae Young got hair plugs, do you think you would have gotten more for the Atlanta Hawks game, the tickets?
It depends. Would the hair plugs be the same as his hair right now, like flowy / curly?
I don't know.
If yes, then I say yes.
Okay. I have a feeling that this guy just gets underrated constantly because of his hair.
No, I think he gets underrated because he is a less efficient version of.
Don't say Steph Curry.
Don't
say Steph.
I honestly literally
don't say Steph Curry, bro.
I saw myself from saying Steph Curry because I'm trying to think of a better comp. Fred? Like he's okay, so he's a better.
Come on.
He's a better Fred. No, hold on,
bro. Like okay, so
he's his own guy. He's his own guy, but he's so terrible on defense, and he's not like a Dame, that is just like so overwhelming offensively that he totally makes up for it. right? He's
Maroon
so
Prince with a
terrible.
really good point here. Trey's closer to Lillard. I agree. So he is like a less efficient Damian Lillard.
Sure.
Who is
right?
way less interesting to watch.
Exactly. And so that's I mean he's not. I would it honestly, if I'm playing Atlanta, if I'm watching an Atlanta game, I'm looking at DeJounte more. Like I just find him to be
Better
a more,
hair.
more interesting player.
Better hair. DeJounte's got great hair. I agree.
Listen, if Alex Caruso was on our team, that guy's got
no hair,
and I would fucking cheer the shit out of that guy. I love watching him play. Right.
If Alex Caruso was on this team, I think you would get $42 for your tickets instead of $40 for sure.
If Alex Caruso is on this team, they're winning more games and playing more properly.
Would Alex Caruso start over Dennis Schroeder? No. So who would he start over?
Yes, he would. Yes,
for Darko?
Would. Yes, he would. Yes.
He should. I'm not saying he shouldn't. He should.
Yeah, he would. I think that's one of those things that would be worked out in practices. You know, yeah. I think that a lot of these decisions come to fruition because of how things happen in practice, stuff that we're not privy to, we can't see. Right? Mm-hmm. If Alex Caruso was on this team, he would win the starting job in practice 1 trillion%. That would not be and this whole selfish narrative that's currently rearing its ugly head once again.
Yeah.
I think would be squashed, but unfortunately, we're not getting Alex Caruso because we're not a winning team.
Well, what's interesting is you hit on something there. This selfish thing that's coming up again. You know, the word selfish not necessarily coming up again, but a lot of people saying, "Oh, we don't trust each other," or we're God. I was trying to think who said it the other day, where they were talking about it, and it was either in one of these media scrums or post games, where they were just like, we need to trust each other. We need to make the right pass when we're doing things by ourselves. You need guys who are on the same page, who are trying to do the same thing. And when one person is trying to be too individual or not thinking about, and it's just like these coded messages are all basically saying that, guys are not on the same page. Guys are not playing for each other. And the guys are not playing for each other. They're not playing for the team. Then what are they playing for? They're playing for themselves. They're just selfish. As I said, there would be no selfishness. Now there's selfishness. I need him to answer some fucking questions at this point. And I don't want to wait till the trade deadline for that to happen. So at this point, am just counting down the days. There are 3 days left until December 15th. That is when, a lot of players around this league can suddenly be moved, including the Raptors' own Jalen McDaniels, including Jakob Poeltl, I believe, as well, and Dennis Schroeder especially.
Yes.
I don't know if they're going to move Dennis, but they should.
Sell the farm. Keep OG and Scottie and start from scratch. Right? There has to be some role players that if Buddy Hield is infamously a horrible defender, I think he would be fantastic on this team. So even if you get a Buddy Hield type person back, I think that would be I think it would be the Rudy Gay thing all over again. If you can get serviceable pieces,
Buddy Hield is certainly a lot more than a serviceable piece right now. I mean, consider the stock. His stock is up right now. After everything that happened in the tournament and everything,
sure.
There's just he's kind of like the second option in Indiana right now.
Right.
For better or for worse.
The bad thing is I don't even think you're getting a Buddy Hield in return for Siakam at this point. I could be wrong. Maybe the market dictates that there's a little bit of a bidding war and that we get more than we think for Siakam. But I watched a little bit of your show that you did where you traded with every team in the league.
Oh God.
And
I moved that to private because I couldn't, dude. I fucking tried for 3.5 hours and I came up with some of the most ass trades in the history of the world.
Right.
I couldn't do it.
No, but even some of them, I'm looking at them. I'm like, that team. I don't think they're going to do it. It's just because Pascal's on the last year of a deal, of his deal. I don't think they do that. I think he cratered his own trade value purposely when he said, "I'm not going to sign anywhere." Right?
Yep.
I think he wanted the max from the Raptors. The Raptors are just like, "Sorry, bro, you're not Siak him." Right? Like we're obviously building around Scottie. Like maybe if the guy that we were building around was a guard who was like an insane flame throwing 3-point shooter.
You mean Scottie?
Yeah.
Scottie Barnes is a guard who shoots 38% from 3. Yep.
Yeah. I you know what I mean. I mean a Damian Lillard style 3-point shooter. Like
so Scottie got to be short for you to rate him. Okay, I get it.
If I see, okay, listen, if Scottie starts bombing from 30 feet and making them, 100%, I'm giving you, he's a flamethrower.
I'll send him a DM later. Be like, yo, you got to shoot from 35 feet, 30 feet to 35 feet for Vince to rate your 38% 3-point shooting. Look, man, deep threes are really for players who get run off the 3-point line. That's it. If Scottie pulls up from 28 to 35 feet tomorrow, or the next day, it's useless.
Yeah, I don't think it's helping the team at all.
He was kind of feeling himself at times tonight. He was like, he was definitely. We'll say I agreed with most of his threes tonight, but there were a couple where I'm just like, maybe you could have tried to drive on that particular possession.
No, I agree, but I mean, again, driving lanes closed down pretty quickly for this team. And I will say this, like I think his 3-point shot, even though it's 38% right now, inspires absolutely no fear. And like if I'm an opposing coach, I'm still going under on him.
Yeah,
I might pressure him a little bit more, but I'm not going out of my way to run him off the 3-point line at this point. And also, like, I still don't completely trust his mechanics.
Yeah, they kind of change from shot to shot. It's true.
They do. Like even that 3, unfortunate for Scottie because all the controversy over whether the thing was a 3 or a 2. Really, when you look at that photo, you're seeing his form in a nutshell, and it is fucked in so many ways. Like there's so many things wrong with his 3. Where I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, if Chris Matthews got him for like a couple of hours, like what would he say about this? Like what he's doing wrong here, like his feet, his knees, his elbow, it is changing. And then funny enough, I'm watching for that same form later and it changed again. And I was just like, what? There's so much work that needs to be done here to make it better. Like, with how open he is, if his form was consistent, like I'm happy he's taking it. I'm very happy he's taking it. Yeah, I'm happy it's going in as often as it is. But this is the type of form that can abandon you very quickly too.
Sure.
Right?
I get that.
SP, can you explain Marion's shot? Yeah, I mean, again, like never was the greatest 3-point shooter, He
also played for some pretty sick teams.
He did. Yeah.
Like, he played for like the D'Antoni run and gun 7 seconds or less Suns. That's going to help anyone's shot. It doesn't matter how bad your form is.
Yeah, I mean, like weirdly enough, like Marion, 2 years in Phoenix, like crazy efficient, 39 and 38% from 3, right? 38%. Right. But then next year, 34, then 33, then 33, then 31, 33, 35, 26.
Is that with the Raptors?
No, hold on. Let's see here. Actually, yes. Yep. So with the Raptors, he shot 15% from 3.
Good God.
Miami, 20% that year. Dallas, 16%. Dallas again, 15% next year. Dallas, 29%, then 31%, then 36%. And then with Cleveland, 26%.
It's crazy. He won a chip that year, but I think he was also injured during the entire playoff run.
Right.
Crazy.
Wait. With Dallas?
Yeah.
No. He played.
Did he play?
I'm pretty sure he played. Hold on.
I thought he got injured like at some point throughout that playoff run.
Hang on. He played 21 games for Dallas in that playoff run, and
Really?
he started all 21 of them.
Okay, so he played. So that was almost every game.
Mm-hmm. And he shot 0% from three. So he didn't hit a three the entire playoffs.
That's funny. Rick Carlisle doesn't fuck around. You're not shooting. Hey,
incredible.
They won. I was so. I aside from the Raptors chip, I don't think there's any chip I was more happy about than that Dallas chip.
Really?
Yeah. I was watching every game from Italy. It was fucking like 5 a.m. That was really fun. Really fun run. To knock off the Heatles, are you kidding me? Love that.
I liked I'm trying to think, like the 04 Pistons. I was just happy Rasheed got one after being fucked by like so many times in Portland, to see him get one. And I was also kind of happy to see Larry Brown get one too. As much as Allen Iverson is one of my favorite players, I somewhat tended to agree more with Larry Brown in terms of just understanding like play style and basketball philosophy and stuff.
Yeah, true.
I really would have been happy to see Vince get one with Orlando, but he didn't get one. Or with New Jersey, he didn't get one there either. It kind of sucks. Vince always showed up right after teams were really good.
Yep.
You know, he goes to Orlando after they go to the finals. He goes to New Jersey after they go to the finals. He just, bad timing.
And the funny thing is that the team that he would have had the best chance of winning with would have been the Raptors. Had
McGrady stayed.
Had he and McGrady stayed together on that team, they would have been LeBron and D-Wade before LeBron and D-Wade.
Scott plays 2K saying he went to the Mavs too. Yup, right after they won the championship. Yeah. Like after they won the championship. It's always like after the teams kind of like peaked out, he goes there to like sustain or like extend the peak, and then he just ended up going to a whole bunch of terrible places. But yeah. I'm trying to think like championships that actually meant something to me that weren't like the Raptors championship. Didn't give a shit about the Celtics.
I liked Denver last year. That was nice.
Denver was great. Yeah. Denver was good for Jokic.
And to also put to bed the whole notion of like, oh, he can't play defense, and like Jokic is a good defender. He always has been. He's not fleet of foot, but he's like always in the right place, got great hands, can steal the ball. And so this whole narrative that he'll never win because he's bad at defense was annoying.
He rebounds and he uses his body well. Yeah. I'm trying to think here. I think no, D-Wade and Shaq winning it, didn't care. Kobe and Shaq winning it, didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I was really
rooting for Sacramento in that series.
Yeah.
The infamous Vlade Divac hits the ball. I could tell you, I was at a what was it called? It was like a wing place, watching Vlade hit the ball out, going straight into Robert Ory's hands. And just like,
that's oh yeah, I remember that. That was tough.
That was.
I'm trying to think like overall like just championships that have meant anything to me. Italy World Cup 2006 means something to me.
Now you're talking about language.
That I remember. And I was wearing my Alessandro Del Piero Juventus jersey.
Come on, dude. Were you an Italian soccer fan? Serbia, of course. Fantastic teams.
I'm partially Italian, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, Pensari basketball, Pensari films. Where do you think that came from?
Yeah, I thought you were just a fan of the whole thinking basketball, and you looked it up in a different language. So is your mom that is part Italian?
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, so I've been to Italy a bunch of times. Yeah, I even spoke Italian much more as a child. Now
Oh,
I
nice.
had a lot of Italian family friends. Yeah, so it's been a really big part of like my influence growing up. Films,
That
culture,
2000
literature.
that 2006 run, that was
Oh, it was incredible. I was so happy. And then yeah, I've like always hated on Zinedine Zidane ever since. But yeah.
Oh, really? That's so funny. I've always loved him. I actually think he's the best soccer player to ever live.
Ever?
Yeah.
Really?
I think there's
Caesar was
no.
that good, eh?
I think he's. Yeah. I think he's like whatever Messi can do. I think he could do if he was a striker. But he played midfield and just like was the best player ever.
Mhm.
I can't believe he headbutted that guy, Materazzi. I can't
Yeah.
believe he like did it in that moment, and I never cheered harder for anything happening because I knew it meant he would get kicked out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean,
so
like
crazy.
I typically when you ask people about their favorite players of all time, they don't mention goalies, but Gigi Buffon is one of my favorite players.
Oh yeah.
Del Piero is one of my favorites.
Did you follow his way back as Baggio in '94?
No.
They made the finals against
Like my
Brazil.
dad did. Like my parents were obviously like in Europe, and then my dad was a big soccer fan, so
Yeah.
that made sense. But yeah, like not really my time. Like my time was mainly like, to me it was, yeah, it's Alessandro Del Piero. I don't know why that's like the name that I associated with like learning to love soccer. For as much as I sucked at it, just not very good at it, man.
I like Teacher Mike coming in with the Fabio Cannavaro.
Yeah,
he was amazing too.
Yeah, for sure. Like these guys are great, and actually like that was right around the time Andrea got drafted too, right? So it was like it's a very big time for Italian sports, and yeah, like my biggest like what ifs in terms of like NBA, like here's the crazy things. Like I mean, we talk about being wrong about draft prospects. So I remember picking up a Slam magazine in 2000 and seeing Kwame Brown and just like seeing his stats, and like they had pictures of him, and I remember watching a little tape of Kwame Brown back then, and I remember thinking like this guy was going to be really fucking good. I remember thinking he was going to be like Kevin Garnett, and then he's just not. So him and Andrea to me are like the biggest, how the fuck did I not see that coming? And yeah, like I also thought Darko would be fine. Darko Milicic. I thought Darko Milicic would be good too.
Right.
Not like better than Carmelo Anthony. That was shocking to me.
Right.
But in 2003, I remember I had friends who had watched him play in Hamel Farm, which is like a not great team in Serbia, where he was playing not a lot of minutes, and it was like, yikes, like this is going to be tough going to Detroit of all fucking places.
Right.
And he was very upset. Like he was very upset.
Sure.
Like I remember, I don't know if it was in Detroit or when he eventually got traded to Orlando, but like someone recounted at one point that like his entire apartment was like cheddar from holes in the wall. Like he had just punched holes everywhere in his wall. Yeah, just
didn't hold his emotions in.
Yeah, so it's like it's very interesting. Like you try to understand like what creates success and failure in the NBA, because certainly it's not being 7 feet. If that were the case, Michael Olowokandi, Darko Milicic, Andrea Bargnani, Eddie Curry, all these guys would be super fucking successful. So it's not talent, it's not coordination, it's not speed, agility, whatever. It has to be some sort of element of like emotional regulation mixed with self-awareness, mixed with acumen, basketball talent, coaching pedigree, love for the game, whatever. There's so many elements of it. But like, yeah, like certain guys like Jan Vesely, Nicholas Skidishvili, like all of these fucking, super tall guys, Jonathan Bender, not to keep picking on European players, but like these are players where you're just like, wow, how are you not successful, right? Andre Blatch, right? Probably the most successful of the group that I'm mentioning, but also like really like waste of talent type of player, right? And it's just like, Jesus, like being big is such an advantage in the NBA. Being skilled is an advantage. When you're big and skilled, like you should be able to dominate in the NBA, but these guys just couldn't do it. So it's interesting. Yeah. Anyways, man, great conversation. Good catching up. We haven't done this in a while.
I know it's been a while, man. I mean to come on, but it's tough after every game. But hopefully the next time
that has a double meaning, right? So like it's tough after every game.
Yeah, that's it.
But it is also tough after every single game.
Yeah, it is.
I get it.
It definitely is. No, props to Coach Mo. I have been listening in every now and again whenever I can catch a few minutes here and there. He's always entertaining. Has that dude, the Goateology guy, has he ever been on a live?
No, but we've talked a lot. We've talked a lot over the last few.
Get him on there. Get him on there. He'd be great to converse with for sure.
Yeah, he's got his own channel. He's doing his own thing right now. But he listens. He listens to all of these lives, and he's a fantastic community member. And once in a while, he drops a super chat or something and just lets us know that he's existing out there. But yeah,
that's great. Man. Yeah.
He's
listen. Goateology, this is my request to have you come on the live. Let's cross-pollinate.
Cross-pollinate. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mixed YouTube channels. That's it.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I just want a trade to happen so that we can see a direction chosen. I think that will appease many of the Raptors faithful, and maybe it'll even inspire the Raptors players to feel like, okay, a direction has been chosen. Now we can go forward. It feels 100%. Like everyone's kind of just like, I mean, this is the thing. Like last year, people described this Raptors team as 8 to 9 guys didn't know if every single day they were going to be traded.
Right.
Well, right now I'm looking around, and within 3 days, there's going to be 8 to 9 guys, and every single day for 2 months, they're not going to know whether they're going to be traded.
Sure.
So this isn't about to get better. And with every single loss, the pressure mounts and the faith dissipates.
Mm-hmm.
This would be frustrating if it wasn't the second straight year that the same shit was happening.
I know, man.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Have a good night.
Always wonderful catching up. We'll see you again soon, I'm sure.
All right. See you, man. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
I don't understand why we're paying Bobby if this is how things can get. I don't understand that question, but yeah. Someone had asked earlier to talk a little bit about Pendants. I apologize. I don't necessarily want to do too much of that right now. It is a film festival that I run. It is happening in Toronto, February 22nd to 25th. It is fantastic. It is good for your soul and good for your mind, and probably will be around when hopefully, or not hopefully, I hope it's not, when the Raptors will be completely out of it. So, tough. But it's something that I started, ironically, December 15th, 2017. And yeah, it was I'm gonna pull up on Rob with a Schroeder's the GOAT jersey. Okay. If ever there was a waste of $160, please do it. Yeah, but I'll certainly be, talking about Pendants more in the coming months as our programming becomes finalized and our venues become finalized. And yeah, it was a really cool thing last year to be able to meet certain community members, Jonathan, Larry, Leanne. There was a lot of people, from the Pendants, from the Pensar basketball community who ended up attending Pendants, and, by all accounts had a good time. So I look forward to cross-pollinating that too, right? Yeah. Anyways, guys, take care. Have a good one. Make sure to hit like on this video. And I know I mentioned earlier that views are down for all of Raptors YouTube as this team languishes and, figures out what the hell they're doing and refuses to pick a direction. But I do appreciate that views for our videos, quite frankly, have been pretty steady. I'm not saying they're, going up or getting great, but to maintain this level of engagement. I mean, we're almost 4 hours into this live, and there's still 200 of you here. That's crazy. So, thank you so much for that. Thank you to Vince for coming on. Thank you to Coach Mo for coming on. Thank you to everybody who came on. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I don't think we're doing a video tomorrow, but yeah, see you guys on Wednesday. And hopefully, I want to say hopefully we get a win, but at this point, I'm not rooting for wins. I'm rooting for a trade. So whatever the hell gets us a trade or a shift in the starting lineup, I'm rooting for that. And yeah, to the specific point that was brought up very early in this live about, Scottie, needing another ball handler in the starting lineup. Sure. But, I think we have enough of a sample size with him as a point guard to say it's worth a shot. Give it a shot. All right. Cheers. Bye.